Okay. I've got a bunch of these. We're going to open until we get something good. And once we get something good, hopefully, quote unquote, good, then we'll stop. And I'll save the rest. Cooler heads will prevail. But it's gotta be something worthwhile. So hopefully this video is really short. And I'll save the rest. Cooler heads will prevail. But it's gotta be something worthwhile. Let's say I almost went straight from the front there, but there's still. So hopefully this video is really short. Some cards I'm looking for. Ooh, Chocomog. I don't have that one. I like that. Bahamut. Turn down the music a little bit. One more? Let's do one more, huh? Adult. Regular Vincent in the last one. So we'll just pull him right off the back. Come on. Zodiark Umbral Guard Showcase Foil. Crystal of Altar Cave. Non-foil. Okay. Box 2. Bard's Bow, Weapons Vendor, more Haste Magic. What are we looking for in the comments? Like a secret rendezvous? A duplicate of her. Dude, is this like the same pack? Like, there's a summon. One more. Ooh. It's like Red 13's theme we're playing right now. Surge Foil. Van Street Thief. I also did not play 12, but that's a cool pull though. Oh, yes. Yes. I was gonna buy this card. I mean, it's probably not worth shit, but I don't have to buy it now. Ultima. Origin of Oblivion. I don't know. Riku. Cool Surge Foil. Not cool enough to stop. Chocomog. That's so cool. Come on, Bahamut. Come on, I don't even know. Sephiroth. I love a Sephiroth. Oh, almost screwed that up. Almost gave away the good stuff right away. Ooh, that's Final Fantasy 11. Yup. And that's being separated. And this one has 2, but I care more about the other one. Poison Waters. Black Waltz number 3. Cool. Very cool. The fuck is that? Psych. Okay. Some Anima. Final Fantasy X. I like the way it looks. It's probably not worth anything. It's cool. Zell. Alright. Shit. Spoilers. Balthur and Fran. More Final Fantasy 12. Put that over there. Non-foil Noctis. Showcase. Ooh! There's a hit. I mean, it's the regular, but it's still. I'm super happy about that. That's a cool card. I don't know who you are. Champions for Beyond. Huh. Final Fantasy 4. Okay. Okay. That was a good pack. Was it good enough to stop? No. But that's our first traveling chocobo. From Final Fantasy 7. Rightfully so. Though, I think chocobo games in Final Fantasy 9 are the undisputed champ. Go chocobo hot and cold in the forest. If you know, you know. Let this be the last one. Come on, let's pull a really good search for it and we can just stop. That's what I want to do. I want to stop. I want to save the other ones and just throw them into my collection, my sealed collection. Final Fantasy 4. We're really eating up the... Oh, another farmer. I can't believe I haven't pulled that until now. I just pulled 2. Sleep Magic. Final Fantasy 9. Ooh. Is that like the first boss? Secret Rendezvous with Barrett. Mountain. I'll do one more. I see. I want this in foil. Big Setzer fan here. Big Final Fantasy 6 fan, actually. A Realm Reborn. It's not worth anything. This is like the third time I pulled this card in non-foil. I would like the foil version. That's cool. That's a cool one. Put you with the summons. Edgar. Alright, that's probably the weakest pack so far. Come on. We're getting down to it now. We gotta... I would love to save something here. Well, we're probably just gonna open them all and not get the big one. Not get the hitter we're looking for, unfortunately. Because that's life, you know? Life's gonna life. It's one thing you can be damn sure about. But life's there to stick it to you. Cruel mistress. There's a non-foil version of Barrett and Cloud's Secret Rendezvous. GF Ifrit. Pulled that one last time. Okay, there's the land. Oh, that's a cool...
Hello everyone and welcome back to Packs and Recreation. And today, Jusiterra/Tina, and you know what that means? Well, it means that 1, I have a great playmat, but 2, it's Final Fantasy time, and we're gonna open a booster box, a play booster box. Now, in this channel, we don't often open play booster boxes. Why? Because, well, I do talk a lot, and there's a lot of boosters in here. So the videos tend to be long, and you know, most people only care about like collector boosters and you know, just the big pools and all that stuff. For circumstances, that circumstance being Wizards of the Coast featuring scalpers, it's
Okay.
John, Final Fantasy, done. The rage is over.
It's only been a day.
It's
kids these days.
It's just too much, man. It's too much. It was a lot of work, you know, going through that.
You ever
Very emotional.
You ever played the game Bully?
I did not. Do you?
Yes. It
Really?
feels like this. It feels like a
Look at
high
this.
school.
This is old already.
What year was this?
Oh, by the way, guys, so we're gonna do the guessing game. You can try it with us. There's gonna be a counter on top, and I'm hoping we'll get at least 1 or 2 right.
Okay. I just guessed good or bad card.
You can do that, but try to get the name. I'm sure you will know some as well. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, Augusta is correct. No, Augusta. Oh my. Wait a second. No comment. All right, we're gonna go with
Rookies.
Oh, sudden breakthrough.
So what year was this? Did you answer that?
I did not. Let's see. 2021.
21. Okay.
That's 4 years.
Feels like just yesterday.
Expanded.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. We have an absolutely massive collection to share with you guys today. We've been doing buying collections. You can reach out to me at kitchentabletcg@gmail.com. If you want to sell a collection, check out how crazy this collection is. So this is James and Andrew's collection all the way from Oregon. Drove 20 hours to drop off this crazy Magic the Gathering collection. Some sealed stuff, but vast majority of this Commander staples. This box right here is, according to their list, around $85,000 to $90,000 market price of cards, and then there's some other small lists as well. Just an absolute home run of a collection. These are all the cards under $2. These are all the kind of more expensive cards you can see. They've gone through this, and this is the green cards, $8.50 to $52, that kind of stuff. And then just some other lists and stuff, and the bulk, absolutely crazy collection. So we're gonna organize all this stuff. Let's take a look at this colorless artifact first. So James made the trip up, and we were talking about all the fun times him and his son had playing, and it's just time to exit the hobby. Although he was still opening some Final Fantasy boxes on the trip up, he said. So very cool collection, very cool cards. There's a Mana Crypt here, Scroll Rack, Mana Web, Dublin Cubes, Dark Steel Forges, Aimlets, Sensei's Divining Top, some more tops, Shadow Spear. That's a card that keeps just going up. They probably will reprint that eventually. Mana Vaults. You've got some Exploration. These are the kind of cards we kind of went through just to verify that what he said was what he had.
क्या आपको पता है सिर्फ ₹3000 पर मंथ इन्वेस्ट करने से रिटायरमेंट के बाद
Well, welcome back everyone to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. I just got back from Collecticon Cleveland. It was our first time as a store vending. We had a 5-table booth, and I just wanted to share my experience with you, both for like a mental process for me to go through and share. It's almost like writing down things in a journal and taking notes of the process for myself, so that next year I can come back and look at this video and say, this is why I would have done differently, or this is what happened last year. But also to show off some really cool stuff that we picked up. I'm actually going to go through and show you everything that we bought at our table at Collecticon in Cleveland. I wish I could tell you everything we sold and everything that went down, but I'm going to do my best to share it with you and share the whole experience from a vendor at Collecticon. So I took some pictures too I want to share with you. Shout out to just two of the greatest people ever, Cody and Tyler. Thank you guys so much for helping out and for helping run the table, for actually motivating me and encouraging me to do this. This is not something I would ever have decided to do on my own, and so shout out to these two for helping run the table. Cody and Tyler both run some local shows around us, and they just said, dude, we got to do a Collecticon. So I got 5 tables, and I shared a couple of the tables with them, and we just ran this thing to the ground. It was a ton of fun. So just this is our booth. We got the banner. We kind of went all out. We got the banner. I got the kitchen table cards and games, table mat things, whatever, table cover cloths. We brought a ton of slabs. I kind of have been stocking up over the last 3 or 4 years on some vintage slabs that I really like. But I also just finished my vintage binder. So I already have all these cards in raw. So it's kind of time to try to get rid of some of those. And then we just have a bunch of stuff at the store too that, it's fun and good stuff. And I don't know, just kind of fun to bring stuff out and see what people liked. And vintage did really well. I actually heard something that I learned is that vintage does really, really well at the Midwestern, in the Midwest area of the United States, but on the East and West Coast, the vintage stuff doesn't do very well at Collecticon. So that's something that I learned. I just had some PSA 10, 9 kind of alt art stuff that we brought. So these are all the cards. You got a poncho up there I started the week out with. The Rayquaza shiny poncho and a couple of the big one-piece cards, and really cool stuff. A lot of fun, a lot of cool cards that I love, and a lot of cool cards that I didn't want to sell and didn't necessarily want to bring, but I brought them anyway just because. And then
get 5% off on your first order on cardtrader.com using my code MattCaster. Link below in the description.
perfect.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Magic the Gathering Market Movers, and today is July 2nd, 2025, and before we jump into things here, as per usual, I want to go over the affiliate links in my description. I do have a Dragon.
Hey everyone, so the Edge of Eternities is releasing August 1st, and we're going to be having pre-release at the end of this month. So as the days go by, we are getting a little bit more and more information and more leaks as to what the new cards and mechanics are. Now, granted, we haven't seen very much at all, but we have seen some of the new mechanics. And next Tuesday on July 8th, they're going to be doing their debut stream where they show off a lot of the chase cards, the mechanics, some of the big cards, and also some of the variants of the lands and things like that. And generally, when that happens, the price of the collector booster boxes rise in price very quickly. We've seen that with Tarkir Dragonstorm, with Aetherdrift, just all of the sets recently. So I want to talk about some of the new mechanics, about the set in general, and where I think the price of the collector booster box is going to go. It has been rising pretty rapidly leading up to the release. I think that it will continue to go up leading up to this event next Tuesday, and on the event it probably will go up even further. And I think that there's some repercussions stemming from the success of Final Fantasy that are spilling over into Edge of Eternities, and that does give me some caution. I am a little bit cautious and a little wary of what's been going on with Edge of Eternities in terms of the price of the collector box. So I'm going to transition over here. We're going to look at how much the collector boxes are going for right now. As you can see, it's still about a month out, or 3.5 weeks until pre-release, but it is selling for $328 per collector box right now, and the sell-through rate is quite high. 50 to 60 boxes per day in the low 300 range. So you can see many boxes being sold in the 320, 330 range. And as you can see this chart, there was a huge spike that occurred on June 20th. This was during MagicCon, so likely this coincides with the announcement of the Shocklands, Galaxy foils, things like that. and that caused a bunch of boxes to be sold, a huge spike, and then prices to rise, and they've stayed pretty steady in around 328 since then, and slowly rising. Now I think that this is going to continue to rise leading up to July 8th. A lot of it has to do with anticipation that it's gonna go up again on July 8th, next Tuesday, when they do the stream, and then it will go up again. But I do want to caution you a little bit, because I want to show you what some of the other more recent sets, like the pattern of those sets, their collector boxes, and because I think it's indicative, it foreshadows, you can use that information to predict what could potentially happen to Edge of Eternities here. Now, of course, we have no idea, right? They could surprise us all with really beautiful, incredible cards, or it could be really bad. We just don't know, but the hype is still going to be there. And I think the hype is even more so now than it was for the previous sets like Tarkir Dragonstorm and Aether Drift, which is the two comparators I'm going to show. So let's go look at Aether Drift. Okay, so Aether Drift came out, the release date was Valentine's Day, February 14th. Now, if you look at what happened to the price of the Aether Drift collector boxes leading up to the release, it shot up like crazy, just like Edge of Eternities is doing now. So release date was February 14th, 2/14. And as you can see, about a month before the release, around January 14th or so, the boxes were selling for around $255 a box. And it went all the way up until about the week of January 20th to January 26th, which is about 2 to 3 weeks before the release. And it hit a high of around $284 per box. Now, what happened to Aether Drift boxes after release? Well, even before release, a week before release, it started to come down. And on release, it was around $233, and it hasn't stopped dropping since, and it is right now sitting at about $185, $187. It has had a really small recovery, but the set's been out for almost 5 months now, and it is sitting below, like, this has got to be close to the distributor pricing. So it's, if you know anything about Aether Drift, the set didn't really do very well. People didn't like a lot of things about it. Hat set, all that stuff. None of the cards are really used in much of any competitive decks at all, or even Commander. Of course, their stock up, probably one of the best uncommons ever made. But other than that, not too much going on for Aether Drift. Now let's look at Innistrad Remastered. So Innistrad Remastered is not a standard set, obviously, and it released January 24th, so about 3 weeks before Aether Drift. But I just want to show this just to show, once again, the collector box price and the history, the movement of the collector boxes, and how it kind of parallels everything else. And it is what I expect to happen with Edge of Eternities here. So again, release date January 24th. So prior to January 24th, Innistrad Remastered was rising pretty rapidly. January 24th, and it hit a high. Actually, it hit a high like the week after, or the week of release, at around $343 per box. And ever since release, it, once again, just like Aether Drift, has not stopped going down, and it is currently sitting at about $250 per box. There is a serialized card in this set. It's the serialized Edgar Markov. Aether Drift also has a serialized card, which is the serialized Aether Spark. And so even with those serialized cards, it is not helping the price of the set. All right, moving on to Tarkir Dragonstorm. Tarkir Dragonstorm, very popular set, did really well, right? And it is much, the price that it's sitting at right now, $315, $330 with shipping, is pretty good, and it's a lot higher than what the distributor pricing is. And if you look at the chart, Tarkir Dragonstorm doing pretty good. But once again, leading up to the release of Tarkir Dragonstorm, which released on April 11th, prices shot up, right? So 1 month before April 11th, before the release, we have prices starting to go up rather quickly at about 257. It continues to go up all the way up until release on April 11th, hitting a high of about 387. And then about a week after the release, starts to go down from there. So it from a high of about 387 on release, hits a low of about 315. And then it's kind of just gone up just a little bit from there. But once again, hype leading up to this release, and then right at and after release, it comes back down. So the other two sets, Aether Drift and Innistrad Remastered, came crashing down very rapidly and very hard, as you can see here, and never really recovered yet. Tarkir Dragonstorm did come down, but really not much at all, and that's really a testament to like how good of a set it is in terms of the demand. People like the set. Ugin, there's a serialized card again, Mox Jasper, which isn't that popular, but they do have the Dragon Scale fetch lands, so there are some decent pulls and chase cards. A lot of the cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm are used in competitive decks and competitive formats. So of course, the infamous Corey Steel Cutter that recently just got banned, that was from Tarkir Dragonstorm. Voice of Victory, the two mana immobilize 2 creature that doesn't let people cast things on your turn. I think it's called Voice of Victory. That card is really good, being played in Commander, played in Standard, especially now that with all the bans, I think a lot of new decks are starting to use that again. It might be played in Modern. I'm not sure. I don't really follow Modern very well, but it's a very good card. It's got the Elspeth, the new and improved 5 mana Elspeth that doubles all your tokens. So this set does have good stuff, and therefore the price is reflecting that it did not have a massive crash like the other two sets, Aether Drift and Innistrad Remastered, which didn't really have anything good and therefore didn't do well. So now we look at Edge of Eternities, right? It's early, so we don't have all the data, but we're going to watch this chart and watch the price move as the days go by leading up to release. And again, I expect this to continue to rise and rise a lot next Tuesday, the 8th, when they do the live stream and show off all of the stuff. But it's already at a very high price. If you look at Aether Drift and Tarkir Dragonstorm, it didn't hit. So Edge of Eternity is like at 320. Tarkir Dragonstorm did hit 320 around 320 around March 17th, March 23rd. Now I believe that was actually the date of that stream where they showed off all the stuff and the price goes up. So Edge of Eternities, prior to that event, the event coming next Tuesday, it's already hit 320. So when this event comes next Tuesday, how much higher is it going to go? I'm fairly certain it's going to go higher, but is this going to go to 400 or 350? Probably 375, maybe 400 is really high and really wild. So I will be surprised if it hits 400 or surpasses 400, but I think it is possible. Now, a couple reasons why that could be the case, why it could do that. So we could be super hyped up because they're going to have some really cool treatments of Galaxy Foil Shocklands that people want. I don't know. They're printing the old lands that from the past. I heard that there's going to be a strip mine. There could be a really cool Galaxy Foil strip mine of some sort. They might be doing some stuff that really attracts collectors. We know that there's not going to be a serialized card, but that's okay because there have been a lot of sets that don't have serialized cards but still do really well, like Bloomborough and Foundations, some of the more recent ones without serialized cards where the collector product is doing well. So that does not make or break whether the price is good or not. It's really just how popular this is, right? So lastly, I just want to talk about the mechanics again. I know I belabor this, but we have more details of the Edge of Eternity mechanics. So I'm gonna pull this up right now. So we see that they have these. They're gonna have this land cycle. These lands are planet lands, and they have the station mechanic. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't think the station mechanic is gonna be that incredible or impactful. I think it's just gonna be okay, but it really just feels like a very flavorful, fun for limited within it. It's this universe, this set mechanic, and that's fine. Don't know. I think it's unlikely that this mechanic, the station mechanic, is going to be very popular or used outside of Edge of Eternity's limited format. But of course, we shall see, right? So you have this land, Station 12. So that means you have to tap 12 power worth of creatures as a sorcery, which means you're not going to be able to attack with those creatures, and also means you're not going to be able to block with those creatures because you have to do it during your turn to put these station counters on it. And then once you have it, it's pretty good, but you have to pay 2 mana plus this land, so it's like 3 land, pay 2 life, and then sack a creature, and then you get to draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and you can only do that as a sorcery. So I just don't see this land being that good. I think it's fine, and the land comes into play tapped. I think we saw somewhere somebody leaked or said what the blue version of this land is. It's also Station 12, and oh geez, I can't remember what the blue one does. Maybe we'll see it here. But this is what I want to talk about. This mechanic is the one that I'm very interested in, and I feel like has potential. So the mechanic is warp. So warp reminds me of evoke, and evoke is a very, very, very powerful mechanic. In fact, warp better than evoke? It might be better than evoke. So evoke is you pay the evoke cost, the creature comes in, you have to sacrifice it immediately, and then you get the ETB effects, right? So warp is you pay the warp cost, the creature comes in, but then you don't have to sacrifice it immediately. You exile at the beginning of the end step. So what that means is you can pay this cheap warp cost. It comes in with whatever ETB, whatever enter ability has, or leaves the battlefield ability when it's gone at the end of turn. But while it's out, you can tap it to crew vehicles. You can tap it to do the station mechanic. You can even sacrifice it, right? You pay the warp, and then you sacrifice it to a different card or spell that you have. So whereas I think evoke, it just dies, or you have to sacrifice it, or it dies like immediately when you cast it. The only downside is that it doesn't go in your graveyard because it gets exiled. But then you get to cast this from exile later at any point. So warp seems really busted. I'm interested to see how many creatures have this, what other abilities are going to have this. And I also feel like this mechanic is one that we could see coming back in the future, right? So if you think about like the station mechanic, unless we're going to have another space set or boat, another set where there are stations like bus stations, space stations, subway stations, or something like that, I don't see the station mechanic ever coming back unless we have another set like that, either coming back or being built upon, right? I don't see them making more payoffs for station and things like that unless we have another set like that. But if you think about, and then so similar sets like Aether Drift, start your engines, like I just can't, they're never going to do another start your engines mechanic or support for that mechanic unless we have another racing set. Hey, who knows? Mario Kart, that would be awesome. Start your engines in Mario Kart or any other racing themed set. Sure.
Thinking about upgrading your car? Here's the easy way. With CarNap's trade-in option, I have to pay only Edge of Eternity's releases in about a month and a half, give or take, and I'm being generous, which is wildly close to Final Fantasy's release. And while I'm not surprised by Wizards of the Coast doing these close releases for certain things, I do question putting a set right after Final Fantasy with the massive popularity that set has had and expecting it to have even a chance. Maybe you did lure in some new players who are going to start getting the next product. I'm certainly more excited about Edge of Eternities than I am Spider-Man, but that's just me right now. But we did get some very early vendor previews over the weekend while there was MagicCon going on, and I thought it'd be good to talk about them. Just take a quick break from the Final Fantasy market coverage, which has been wild, but I know it's brought a ton of new viewers. So if you guys have been here or are new to the channel because of that, thank you so much for giving us a chance. Hope you stick around. Do a bit of a mix of, fun stuff, coverage, whatever. But let's look at Edge of Eternity, shall we? So I'm going to pretend that no one has seen this yet. So this is Edge of Eternities, which is the next in-universe set that is releasing, like I said, August 1st. I'm recording this on June 22nd, so it's less than a month and a half. But that's crazy. Previews will be starting in less than a month. Let's look at the breakdown of the set, as we often do, and see if we can maybe figure out, whether or not this is going to be worth our while. So Edge of Eternities is going to have its own expansion symbol, obviously. It's going to have the EOC expansion symbol, which means Commander. And then we have EOS. So as many people theorize, there is a bonus sheet with the set. We're going to take a look at exactly what that constitutes in just a moment here. And then, of course, special guests will return. They were not in Final Fantasy, but they are back, which is great. I do like the special guest mechanic quite a lot. So we've got a subset, which typically is almost always better for a set's value. We saw Outlaws had a decent subset. Wilds of Eldraine had a good subset. There are plenty of sets that, are enhanced by having the bonus sheets. Final Fantasy's bonus sheet has been really popular as well. So here's how this is how this is going to work. We've got, Edge of Eternity's Commander. We've got Stellar Sights, which is the bonus sheet, and special guests, all Commander, legal, vintage legal, etc. So no changes to any of that, although there is a ruling change for Commander we'll get to in a minute here. Prices are here, $5.49 for a play booster, $24.99 for collector booster, $44.99 for the Commander deck, and $53.99 for the bundle. Man, they just keep raising the price of the bundle, I feel like. Oh, maybe it's just me, I don't know. It used to be $39.99, I think, and now it's just continuously more and more expensive. But it's not going to be like Final Fantasy's bundle, I don't think, which is one of the few exceptions. So here's a couple important dates to note if you're just wanting to get a sense of what's going on with this. You're decided you're going to be able to keep up. So the story started June 20th. We'll continue through July 7th. Obviously, the story articles and stuff, it's definitely interesting if you're into that kind of thing. I certainly would recommend checking it out, but it's not relevant to the cards, really. So if that's what you're concerned about, it's not that big of a deal. The debut preview is July 8th. Full image gallery out by July 18th. And then we've got pre-release. We've got arena release July 29th. And then worldwide release, of course, August 1st. This is just a crazy turnaround time for a set. And I think it's actually closer than any we had last year. And I don't mind, as someone who makes videos, having plenty of stuff to talk about all the time. Trust me, for us, for content creators, it's often good. But for players, which is, kind of where I started my love of Magic in the first place, it can be a little tricky to keep up with, especially when they're this close. I don't think every set needs to be every 4 months, but I don't know, maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe every 3 months instead, So here's what we're looking at in terms of story elements here. We've got Tezzeret. We know he's going to be in here. I believe he's the only Planeswalker that will be in here. This Tezzeret is actually pretty good, and I think at some point in the near future we'll do a full video breaking down the cards and whatnot. I definitely think this is going to be a very combo-oriented card. It will just, it's available in everything, which is great. Some story details. Seth Dickinson, who I'm personally not familiar with, but I'm sure plenty of people have heard of, is actually writing the story for Edge of Eternities, which I think is really interesting if you're a fan of that guy. So, might be worth looking into. I'm going to have to check that out. Now, we have the cards. There is a brand new artifact, which is Spacecraft. This is similar to Vehicle, so it's going to be like a subtype. Interestingly, with this change, there is now a big ruling change where commanders in your commander deck can either be a legendary spacecraft or vehicle, which is huge because a lot of cards that previously were unplayable due to their status as a vehicle that's not considered a creature, now are playable. And this card here, the Sarima, I don't know how you pronounce it, is an absolutely cool card on every surface. It is only 3 mana to play. When it enters, you search any legendary creature, which is just fantastic. But it turns into a vehicle by using the station mechanic. And so that says tap another creature, put charge counters equal to its power on the spacecraft. Do this only as a sorcery. I like the idea of turning it into an artifact creature. It's not really that different from Crew, but mechanically it feels more relevant. And this card is really, really good. In addition to just being a generically good searcher for legendary creatures, gives all your other legendary creatures indestructible. Really, really strong card for a rare. So I'm happy to see that here. But yeah, that's what the rule change is that they confirm in Commander, that you will be able to use any legendary card that has a printed power and toughness. So that's really, I'm going to make a video kind of looking at some of the best Commander vehicle options when we get a little bit of time this week. So they showed previews of the 2 face commanders for the decks. If you're interested in these things, these are actually the alt commanders, I'm sorry. So they didn't show the main face commanders, but these are the alternate ones that come in the deck. Am I right? I think I'm right. Oh, maybe I'm not actually. It looked different, but no, maybe these are the face commanders. I don't know. It doesn't specify here, but either way, they'll be guaranteed in the deck. We've got blue, red, white, and then black, red, green. I think there's a lot of interest with Sarl over here as an insect commander, and he can do a lot. I know people were hoping for Eldrazi. I still am, but now I'm kind of wondering. They didn't get any early Eldrazi previews, so if they are going to be in the set, wouldn't they show that off right away? I mean, that would be my theory. I could be completely wrong, though, on that front. But Kilo is interesting. It proliferates whenever it becomes tapped, and certainly has colors that work well for that. And Saral's more, play lands from your graveyard, and you get benefits for sacrificing stuff. So a couple of really interesting commanders there. Now, this is the biggest bit of news here, if you guys didn't see this. The Shocklands are returning to Standard. Now, we talked about Shocklands when Ravnica Remastered came out, which feels like forever ago at this point, and I talked about how Shocklands will automatically increase the value of a set. They just do. Historically, any set that has Shocklands is going to bottom out much higher than whatever random product might bottom out. These particular cards, we're getting half the cycle, which I believe is the enemy cycle, of the Shocklands, and they will be in the regular packs, and obviously they're going to have special treatments. There's just no doubt about it. But even these base treatments look really nice. They're all set on space. Safe to assume the next core set for Standard, or whatever you want to call it now, the next main set will have the other half, I would think. I don't know. I guess we'll see what they do. But these are going to be great for the value of the product as a whole, and also great for the odds of, better cards being in circulation. Now, if they can kind of nail it home and have the set be good, but also include the shocks, so then you're looking at another successful product, and it'd be cool to see that happen for a Universes Within set. So we'll have to see, but they know what they're doing, and these are going to be very high impact in Standard as well, especially with a lot of stuff rotating out. Now, I wanted to mention the Singularity foil. I don't know how you pronounce it, Sothera, the Super Void. This is a brand new foiling. You can kind of see it here. It's not the best view, but the card itself looks really nice. This is only in collector boosters, and it's extremely rare and will only appear in a low number of collector boosters of any language. It will always be in English. So it's essentially the same level of rare as the Traveling Chocobo, if I have to understand that correctly. Not the numbered one, but the neon ink one. So this card is a brand new mechanic. There is a big chase, obviously, for the collector boosters with that being in there. I don't know if they will put any serialized stuff. Probably not, but I don't know. And then there are some other versions here. We've got the showcase foiling. I think this looks really, really cool. And even the regular foiling is kind of neat. And this card is going to be good. I think this card, along with the shocks, if they deliver with the other aspects of the set, we could be looking at a significantly better than expected product. This is a 2 black legendary enchantment. Says whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent chooses a creature they controls and exiles it. At the beginning of your end step, if a player controls no creatures, sacrifice Sothera, then put a creature exiled with it onto the battlefield under your control with 2 additional +1/+1 counters. It is it's like a combination of Grave Pact or No Mercy and I don't even know, more resources, but it only costs 4. It's a legendary enchantment, so obviously there's that, but this is a very, very good card that I just can't see a situation where it doesn't see play. And it's got some chase artworks here. This feels like I don't want to say staple because I think that's way too hyperbolic, but it definitely feels like a card that's going to become on that list of if I'm playing black, do I auto-include this because of how good it is? Or, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, though. What do you guys think of Sothera? Let me know in the comment section. Now we've got Stellar Sights lands. These are really cool. We know for sure that Mutavault is going to be getting a reprint. The treatment on these are awesome. And they are going to be in both products, obviously. I think the rarity is going to be 1 in 8 packs, but that's not 100% confirmed yet. And then we have these poster Stellar Sights cards, so it's more of a poster frame. These are collector booster only. So the land reprint set that they're including in here with non-standard lands and the special treatments is what they're banking on to really hard carry this product. And I think
Hey guys, it's Adam with Riftgate, and today we are opening a Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy bundle. We're going to go through everything that you get with this, and we'll rip the packs as well. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. All right, here we are. We've got our bundle box. This is probably my favorite way to engage with Magic the Gathering content, believe it or not. I have a background in graphic design and packaging design, and a lot of times these and the pre-release kits have some really fun kind of interactive visuals and things like that. So we have this beautiful display card here that's got some fun artwork on it. Now, just so you guys know, I'll give you a heads up. I am not super well versed in the world of Final Fantasy. I did play the games a little bit when I was younger, and I had a good time, but I'm not caught up on my lore. Regardless, this set has some amazing cards, some amazing artwork, and is really well designed. So, inside our bundle box, this is actually kind of important. This might seem like a weird thing to take note of, but oh man, it kind of got chubbed up there. That's okay. This little insert is actually not garbage. That's something you want to keep in your box, because when you take out this larger insert and put the lid back on, that small cardboard piece is actually what keeps the box flush. So you'll notice how right here on the end, the box closes perfectly and has a clean edge. If we were to take that cardboard piece out, which it's not supposed to come out, so it shouldn't really come out, but if you take that out, the box no longer fits flush. So that is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. It's just a fun little tip for you guys. Don't throw away the small cardboard piece. Aside from that, we also have this insert here. This insert's gonna have some dividers. So these larger cards here are dividers that we're gonna place in our bundle box when we store our cards. So these are gonna come in here, and we'll be able to use them as dividers to kind of divide up the space, okay? So we've got two dividers. They have the same artwork as our promotional material. And then we've got all these little tokens. You know, we've got stunned, finality counters, shield tokens, things like that. And then we also have these little guys. When you're playing the game, every once in a while, you need to make a soldier token or a 1/1 cat with lifelink. These can be little placeholders for things like that. So we've got our deck box dividers, or our bundle box deck dividers. We've got some tokens there. We've got counters. And then one of my favorite aspects is the dice. Each bundle comes with an oversized spin down D20. Let me see if I can get this looking really good here on the camera. And each oversized spin down D20 has a special symbol on the 20. And this particular one has the magic symbol on the 20. Oh man, the focus is rough. Magic symbol on the 20, and then a Final Fantasy symbol on the 1. Sometimes they do really fun and interesting things with these dice. This one's really cool. It's very high contrast. It has a pearlescent kind of resin to it. But I love, love, love these oversized spin downs because they're just a little bit bigger. There's a little bit more to them. So when you're playing at the table, they have a little bit more presence. So that's our spin down. Let's get into the packs. All right. First off, first pack, it's a cloud pack. Now, back in the day, bundle boxes actually had, if I'm not mistaken, they had this. Oh man, now I'm gonna misremember. I think the bundle boxes had set boosters in them, whereas the pre-release kits had draft boosters in them. But now it's all just play boosters, right? And so here we have. I think it's 8, 1, 2, 3, 9 boosters. But some people have noted that the order of the cards is different for the bundles than it is for the booster packs that you normally get out of booster boxes. So there's a chance that there's some sort of a separation there, but for the most part, you should have the same pull rates in these packs as you would get anywhere else. Let's see what we get here. We've got a first rare. Cecil, Dark Knight, legendary creature, Death Touch, pretty sweet. And then a foil weapons vendor. All right, first pack out of the way. Ooh, that's a nice looking dual land right there. Look at that. And of course, our tokens, right? Double foil though, that's pretty cool. Let's break open the second one. Oh, this got shuffled in there. Let's pull this out real quick. So in our bundle box, you also get 2 little packs. Sorry, I didn't separate these guys. Those packs are going to come with a variety of lands. You'll get 2 or 3 sets of full art lands, and then you should also get a bunch of super sexy foil lands as well. So we have our bundle promo, and then there should be a set of foil lands here as well. And this is honestly one of the best ways to really start getting the full art lands. If you're really into having full art lands for your deck, this is a really good way to start. Personally, what I love to do, what I love about bundles is I'll go out and for almost every set, I'll buy a bundle box. And I crack it, I go through everything, I see what my pulls are, and then throughout the set, I will buy packs and go to drafts until I fill this bundle box. Once the bundle box is full, I try to limit my spending, right? I don't always succeed, but it's a good rule of thumb. And so it helps me get my lands for the set, it gives me a nice container to store it in, and it gets me going. Our 2 bundle box promos, we have Papalimo, Totolimo, I do not know this character, legendary creature, dwarf wizard, and Zeldinch. He's a legendary creature, human monk. Both are full art or borderless foils. They're looking pretty good. Like I said, again, even though I don't know the characters super well, I'm really impressed by the artwork and the design in this set. It's super well done. So let's continue. Both of those are rares. We'll get all of our lands out of the way here. Both our foil and our regular lands. And we'll crack into that second pack. Here we go. Alrighty. Some Ice Flan. The summons. I don't know if you guys have seen these summons. These summons are actually really cool. So we did the commander deck playthrough yesterday. And I was playing the Titus deck, and I actually got quite a few of these summons. I really enjoy them. So basically, they're like sagas, but they're also creatures. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. And what's really nice about them is they have counters. So when you have something that proliferates or changes counters, you can use it to manage those as well. Okay, I saw a full art here, so let's see what we got. Luca Stadium. That is a pretty card. I saw some of these in the collector booster box that Nate opened, and I really do like kind of this comic style Final Fantasy full art layout. I think they're really, really pretty. So we got another dual land, another foil, another token, and then our rare was Von Street Thief. Personally though, the Lucas Stadium is looking real good from that pack. All right, let's break into number 3. Let's see what we get here. Here we go. We got a creature plant, the Sabotender. Maybe I shouldn't try saying the names since I don't know them. Undercity Dire Rat. I can read that, right? It's a 2/2. When this creature dies, create a treasure token. Pretty classic rat action. Some chocobos in here. And then we get our rare. It is Bartz and Boko, legendary creature, human bird, affinity for birds. When Bartz and Boko enters, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. That's pretty good. And a foil summon, pretty cool looking. And then a full art land and a full art token. Check that out. That is nice. I'm pretty sure that was one of the commanders. I think her name is Ishtola, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pretty good art card. It would be a really nice commander replacement if you wanted to run it in the deck. Alrighty. Rook Turret. Aerith Rescue Mission. I'm really partial to some of the Magic colors, I think we all are. Personally, I'm a little partial to white and green and blue. It's part of why I was excited to play the Titus deck yesterday. But I just like I like the mechanics of how they work. Let's see what we got here. Aerith Gainsborough, I'm pretty sure she is a main character. And then we've got a Mythic Clive. He's a dual-sided card who turns into a summon on the other side. That is pretty cool. It's too bad that it's red. Just kidding. I like to play red sometimes. And then we got a foil Coiler, foil Cat Beast, and another dual land. Let's see here. Let's put these guys here. Let's look at these a little closer. That looks really good. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like I said, like even if I'm not super well versed in the world, I'm just really pulled in by the artwork and the design on some of these cards, especially those collector cards with the alternate art. Man, those were looking super fresh. Really sexy looking cards. I wasn't planning on building a lot of decks out of this set. I was going to kind of keep it simple. But after seeing some of those alternate arts, man, whew, I'm going to have to explore it a little bit more than I had intended. Let's see what we get here. Oh, Yuffie, alternate art. Like, I don't know what it is about these. I love Magic cards when they're a little bit different. When they take a risk of sorts, when they, kind of shake it up. That looks so cool, man. Legendary Human Ninja. Commander Ninjutsu. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. That is pretty solid. And then we also have Clive's Hideaway. Should we put that with Clive, even though he's a mythic? And Item Shopkeeper with a foil full art mountain. Nice. I'm a sucker for full art lands, especially foil full art lands. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Let's see. There we go. Okay, we're about halfway through. We're almost there. How you guys feeling? You guys excited for Final Fantasy? Excited to get to your LGS and do a little draft? I think we have 3 events here this weekend. Sealed, I guess. Pre-release, it's not really a draft. I am excited to draft, love limited. I think we have 3 events here this weekend, and they're filling up. They're filling up fast. Okay, I saw another full art here. Golbez, Clad in Darkness. Oh man, that is so good. Like the artwork on these are so clean. Legendary Human Knight. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into the graveyard to a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Golbez deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then you can tap for 1 and a black. Each player mills a card. Love that. I think I just want to like collect all these alternate arts, man. They're so fresh, so clean. And then our rare for this pack, Jador Aristocrat Capital. I read about these towns. These are actually really interesting. They're basically lands that act as adventure cards, or they've got the dual play here, so we can play it as a sorcery, and then we can also play it as a land, which is super fun. And then a foil rare, Esper Origins. Look at that. Oh man, Surveil 2, gain 2 life. So clean. And it is also a summon. Again, I don't know everything about the lore, but I've heard about the Espers, and I know that most of these are going to be dual-sided, which is super cool. Love that artwork. Enchantment Creature, Saga Elemental. I have to build around that. Jeez. There's a lot of good hits in here. I like to not spoil myself too much. I try to not watch too many spoilers and like to really experience them at the events. But now I'm wondering if I should go just look at the whole set so I can really get excited about the cards I want. Sephiroth's Intervention, Magic Pot, White Auracite. Let's see what our rare is here. We got one more, sorry. Saj Katsuroi, Legendary Creature Human Pilot. When Saj Katsuroi enters, you may search your library for a bird or basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Whenever he attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1 counters on that creature. If he is not in the Titus deck, we should put him in there. Blitzball! Add 1 mana of any color, sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards. Activate only if an opponent was dealt combat damage by a legendary creature this turn. Blitzball is actually one of my favorite aspects about this set and about this game. I really loved seeing these characters in the Kingdom Hearts series. And I loved how it gently got played upon in that game series as well. But I really loved how it was a big part of Final Fantasy X, and I just think it's a fun sport. I think it adds a lot of fun flavor to the world. So let's see what we get here. Stolen Uniform, Cloud of Darkness, and oh man, this is awesome. This is an awesome card. It's a mythic. It's a red, it's a sorcery, but I just don't know how to say this name. Nibelheim, a flame. Man, you guys are roasting me. You're gonna roast me in the comments, I'm sure. But choose target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, discard your hand and draw 4 cards. That is insane. And it has flashback. The power creep. Power creep is real, guys. Ride the Shoepuff. Landfall. Watch out. Landfall's dirty, man. Full art land and a full art card. That is clean. Look at that. Like I said, guys, just the art alone. The art alone in this set. So much time, so much detail went into these. So good. Okay. Last pack. No crazy hits so far, but again, these are play boosters, so they're for play. When they first kind of made the shift to play instead of doing set and draft, I was kind of skeptical, but over the last couple of sets, I've really come to enjoy that delineation, because if you're just gonna play the game, if you're gonna sit down, do a draft, do a sealed event, open a few packs, have fun, there really is there's a lot of good variety here. They're affordable. You get some fun cards, some good hits, and it's a good time. But if you care about collecting, if that's what you're here for, then get a collector booster. I feel like that adjustment, I kind of didn't fully understand it at first, but now it makes a lot of sense, and I'm really into it because it helps me with new people, especially people who are coming into the game because of Final Fantasy, helps me help them understand the difference between the two. And if you're just learning, if you're just playing, these are for you. If you really care about collecting and getting value, then pick up these other ones. Okay, last pack, here we go. We've got a Giant Toad. You're Not Alone. Blazing Bomb. Fight On. Lunatic Pandora. Crossroad Village, a lot of good lands. Oh, another Lucas Stadium. We'll put that right here. Travel the Overworld. Auron's Inspiration, there's my boy Titus right there. And Overkill, there he is again. The Fire Crystal, that's actually a pretty good card. That's a pretty good hit for the last pack, I like that. Red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Creatures you control have haste. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. You can do that for 4 and 2 red and tapping this artifact. Those are some good hits. Those are some good pulls for the end of our pack opening here. Oh, and a signed art card. Man, way to go. What a fun final pack. So there you go. There's our booster box. I hope you guys had a good time. I'm really excited about this set, about these cards. I'm really excited about these elemental crystals.
There's one true thing about restaurants.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be doing an opening, which I know is rare because normally I only post these as shorts, but I did manage to secure a Final Fantasy bundle, and I'm really excited to rip into the set. So I thought I'd do a full-length video with it. What I'll likely do is end up breaking this up into shorts for our Prophet series as well. So we'll have a total for how this is going to go, but then I'll probably cut the individual packs up and use those for our videos. If you haven't been following that, we are trying to... This is our second month doing the monthly Prophet series. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos are posted. But I am really excited to get into this. This set is super hyped. Even just going to pick up, I had a pre-sale for this, like pre-order for this and some other stuff. I went to go pick it up and it was crazy line just for people picking up pre-sales and stuff. So this comes with 9 packs. It comes with 2 promos, a traditional foil of Sephiroth and Lightning Army of One, 2 extremely strong cards as well. So let's get into the video here. And this was these are $70, $69.99 at retail. I paid $80, but you know, not the end of the world. So that's everything from within the package itself. Let's see. It does come with this cool little double-sided poster that's got Sephiroth and Lightning on it. Unfortunately, got a bit damaged in the box. There is the actual packaging. Let's see if I can raise this just a little higher so you guys get a better look of the overall box. There's Sephiroth, Lightning. Not super crazy in terms of the design or anything, but it's nice. Sometimes simplistic works. And so we've got this, like, there's the breakout, the puzzle encounters, and all of that jazz. This is probably nice for, like, new players. And then the actual content. So let's see. We've got this really nice dice here. I like these D20s a lot, the spin downs. So that looks pretty cool. And we've got, let's see, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 9 pack. Wait, actually. Oh, I'm just a fool. All right, so we got 9 packs, and then we've got these 2 bonus promo packs, whatever, that have lands. There's no randomness to this, I don't think, but check this out. Let's see. What? Estinian Varlanu, Kamari, Valiant Guardian. I didn't realize those were on there. Hold on a sec. Let's look at the lands. These lands are really nice. I'm a little confused, though. I'm going to figure out what's going on in just a second here. These are pretty nice. Just so everyone is with me, the back of the box does say that the promos were, oh, wait. 2 traditional foil extended art legends. So is it random? Oh, that's a bit of a bummer if that's the case. I didn't realize that. I mean, I don't hate these or anything, but I was really excited about there being a guaranteed Sephiroth in there. Okay, so we've got, it looks like Kamari, and we've got Estinian. So we do not have a guaranteed... Ah, that's a bummer. I didn't realize that. That's on me. So I guess you don't get those guaranteed. Feels kind of bad. All right, and then in here we've just got the regular lands. There are some really cool lands that are in the set. Damn, that sucks. Okay, that's on me. So, well, good to know. Good to know. You do not get a guaranteed Sephiroth or the other one in there. So there's that. But let's get into the packs. And so we're going to start these one at a time. I'm going to go a little slower on them just so we can look at the cards, and also because I'm going to have to edit these to use for the short series too. So we'll start with the Final Fantasy Play Booster. Let's see how we do, let's see in terms of value here on these. And yeah, I'm just pretty excited to rip this up. So we've got Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, You're Not Alone, Blazing Bomb. I like the art on that a lot. Fight On. I'm going to try to pronounce that. Someone's not going to like it. Giesel Greens? Gisal, maybe? Maybe that's better. Magic Damper. Really cool artwork on that. Grand Pulse Ochu. Realms Sketching. Reno and Rude. Self-Destruct. Ooh, nice. A Borderless Stolen Uniform. I did a video about this card. I think it's actually pretty good. And we've got Ishgard the Holy Sea. This is one of those land adventures. So I really like that concept as a whole. I have no idea what the value of these are, but if there's anything noteworthy, I'll put them up when I make the video, like as I edit the video. Evil Reawakened. And then you get a town. So Gone Town of Ruin. And that's a pretty cool art card. So we'll get into the next pack here. Sorry, it's a little slow. Here we go. Let's open this up. Let's see how we do. I'm really hoping we get a cool Through the Ages card. I know you can only pull them in non-foil, a lot of these, but I think there's still a chance for something good. So let's see. Blitzball Shot. Combat Tutorial. Paladin's Arms. Sabotender. That's cool. The card's going to be really good in Standard, I think. Undercity Dire Rat. Magic Pot. That's a goblin? That's interesting. I guess it makes sense. There is a goblin in it. Grand Pulse Ochu. Lock Cole. Barrett Wallace. This is a cool card. Capital City. Side Quest. Raise a Chocobo. I like that. Ooh. And Clive, Ifrit's Dominant. That's a Mythic, and that's a pretty good card, I believe. Let's take a look at the backside there. Nice. Got the Saga. I think that's a really good card. Mysidian Elder. And a Foil Island, which is nice. Some pretty cool tokens in here, too. So let's toss the sleeve on this guy, huh? It's a really solid hit, I think. Not bad. Mono Red needs whatever they can get. We'll do a quick recap at the end of the video, too, just to see. All right. Let's get into this one. I really want to hit a Vivi. That's definitely at the top of the list. Vivi or Sephiroth. I can't believe that. So, all right. We got Gallicat, Summon GF Ifrit, Araman, Balam T-Rexor. Now, I really like Magic. I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. Not because I dislike it, just because I haven't played it much. So I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these. Dragoon's Wyvern, Sahagin, Monk's Fist. Ooh, nice. Strixhaven Stadium. That's our first of the Through the Ages. These do look really, really nice just in general. So we're happy to see that. Snow Villiers, Reach the Horizon, Eject. I keep doing, they keep getting stuck. And then we've got Tella the Great Sage, Namazu Trader as our foil, and a Mountain with a hero token at the end. So, not terrible. I'm always happy to get one of those, but maybe we get something cool. There's still a chance. I think they're like 1 in 4, so there's a chance we get at least another one in here. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so Chocobo Kick, Dreams of Laguna, Magitech Infantry, Warrior's Sword, Cornered by Black Mages, Lunatic Pandora, Crossroads Village, Summon Anima, Omega Heartless Evolution. This has a really cool borderless. Tifa's Limit Break, Grahatia, Golbez Crystal Collector, and we've got Ultra's Obnoxious Octopus. Okay, skip one. And then the town, and what is this one here? Just another really cool art there. I like that. The octopus is actually not terrible. It's just kind of funny. Let me know what you guys think of the set in the comments. If you guys have opened any of this, if you had any luck yet. It was an absolute madhouse trying to find this stuff today. Alright, we've got Cloudbound Moogle, Suplex, Namazu Trader, Airship Crash, Retrieve the Esper, White Mage's Staff, Magic Pot, Ride the Shapoof, or Shupoof maybe? I definitely messed that up. Adalbert Steiner, Cargo Ship, and then we've got Arden the Usurper. Pretty cool. Oh my gosh. Oh, a double rare pack. Let's go. Jekt Reluctant Guardian. And then Call the Mountain Chocobo. And we got this Crown City. So, again, I don't know the values of everything off the top of my head, but I will put them on the screen sort of as we go. Hopefully it'll help us towards our monthly that as well. All right, go to the next one here. All right. All right, we've got Gubwe Gardener. Fucking no, man. Scorpion Sentinel, Coeurl, Call the Mountain Chocobo, Out Quatrub Forayer, Laughing Mad, Adventurer's Airship. Oh, we did get a rare of the Through the Ages, Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow. Not bad, actually. A pretty cool hit here. I don't know what it's worth, but I don't love the art on it myself, but I know a lot of people will. It's pretty cool, and like I said, anytime you get a good hit out of that subset. Rydea, Summoner of Mist, Zac Fair, Summon Esper Rama. Ooh, the Earth Crystal is actually a really solid card. I think this card's undervalued and underrated, personally speaking. Ooh, a Sabo Tender Hollow. Nice. And a Vector Imperial Capital as well. So, okay, we'll take it. We will take the Earth Crystal. I have to look up everything, but I will take it. That is a really solid card. I think all of these crystals are going to be decent in one form or fashion. So, all right, next pack. 3 left. Hit the like button for luck if you haven't already, because that totally works. I hear people say that all the time. Fate of the Suncrist, Red Mage's Rapier, Black Mage's Rod, Prisha's Wanderings, not even going to try. Instant Ramen. Ooh, there we go. A Deadly Dispute. Look at the art on that. I actually play this too in a deck, so I'm just probably going to put that. That is a really, really nice looking card. Dang, I like that a lot. Tonberry, Zidane, Tantalus Thief, Sleep Magic, Crystal Fragments, and Hope Esteem. And a Mythic. There we go. All right, we'll take it. I'll take a double pack. A double Mythic pack right there. And that is Hades, Sorcerer of Eld on the back. So it is Emmett Selch, the Unsundered. Don't know what that means, but it looks cool. No idea. Is it good? Maybe. Could be. Seems solid. But I'll check everything later. All right, 2 packs left. You guys ready? All right. Commune with Beavers. Ice Plan. Summon Choco Mog. That's a cool card. Oh, it's not a back. I thought it was a double-sided. Item Shopkeep. Marlboro. White Auracite. Loperit Scout. Fire Magic. Check that out. I love that. VB on there. Gaius Van Belser. Snow Villiers. Reach the Horizon. And we've got... Ooh, I like this. Stiltskin Moogle Merchant. Nice, a borderless. And then Iron Giant and Vector Imperial Capital. So, I don't know if it's good, but I really like the artwork. That woodblock style art is super cool. Okay, and for the last pack. Can we end it on a high note? I do not know. I genuinely don't know what the... I don't know what to expect. So let's go. Slash of Light, Messian Elder, Shinra Reinforcements, Summon...
Greatness is achieved beyond comfort zones.
The new Final Fantasy set from Magic the Gathering is creating mass hysteria over these 1 of 77 Golden Chocobo cards, and the reason will blow your mind. Today, we'll be looking at why and seeing what the likeliness of pulling one of these Golden Chocobo cards is for ourselves. The fantasy is finally over. We finally got a Final Fantasy collaboration with Magic the Gathering that is finally here, and I'm saying final way too much. The Magic the Gathering Secret Lair Final Fantasy collaboration is here, and guys, people are losing their minds over these cards. Not because we're beloved fans that love to see our favorite characters from Final Fantasy on the Magic the Gathering cards, but because the prices of some of these cards make you want to cry a little. They tell you to go out and get a job, but if you pull one of these bad boys and you invest that thing, or even hold it, I don't know, it might be worth a lot of money. So guys, in today's video, we're gonna be breaking down the prices of some of these top valued cards in the Final Fantasy Magic set, and we're also gonna be taking a look at what the likelihood of you pulling the #1 Golden Chocobo, or I should say one of 77 Golden Chocobo cards in this set. And guys, it is freaking crazy, okay? It is absolutely crazy. We do some numbers, we crack some stuff down. And to top it all off, we're gonna be cracking open some packs to see if we can pull something good. So guys, before we get into it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. The channel just needs 1,000 subs and I can finally monetize. This is a brand new channel. I'm trying to do a bunch of research to give you guys value on the card games you love the most. So if you want to support me, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So as we all know, Magic does this thing with Secret Lair where they basically connect with brands and bring those brands to the card game, which brings new fans and new players to play. All right, so we get it. Final Fantasy's here, whatever. So let's talk about the prices of some of these cards. So guys, the Golden Chocobo cards are already shattering records, if you ask me. There's only 77 of these bad boys in the entire world, and they are going for $30,000 Canadian, or like 22,000 US, okay? Which is astronomically higher than I ever thought Magic cards would be, because I'm personally only getting into the Magic the Gathering stuff now, although I played it for years, but getting into the actual market and understanding this, like I do with the One Piece and Pokemon series, it is pretty, like, eye-opening, I have to say. Magic has obviously been around for a long time, but I had no idea these cards could be so expensive. So I say, let's take a look at the market, and see what these prices are for ourselves. All right, guys, so we're over at TCG Player where we're looking at the prices. Just a quick disclaimer, the Golden Chocobo cards do not seem to be located here on the website, but we will get into some numbers shortly. But taking a look at the #1 card, we've got the Traveling Chocobo, the color green. That seems to be the highest card next to the Golden Chocobo cards, being listed here for about $900. Now, there's a variety of these cards. As you can see, there's a pink one, which is going for $375. So as you can see, there's quite a big jump here. I would say the average price for a lot of these cards has been around $1,000 plus. Now, for some reason, the other two are not as pricey. I mean, as you can see here, the blue and the yellow are not really going for as much, which I don't agree with. I love the blue one. The blue one looks fantastic, but that's just me. I'm just biased. But we can see here that the yellow one is being listed for about $200. So the prices have definitely dropped a little bit from what I'm seeing, but it's still obviously new. And then of course we've got Cloud and Sephiroth that are the #1 character cards. Cloud, of course, being almost a $300 card. No surprise at all. I mean, look at this card. It is gorgeous. And Sephiroth is looking pretty good as well. Card is listed for $288. And by the way, these are US prices. So I mean, like, they're pretty high up. They're pretty high up there, I gotta say. So guys, the Golden Chocobo prices are all over the place. I mean, some people are trying to sell these bad boys for hundreds of thousands of dollars now, which is absolutely insane. We've got a listing here for the, I don't know, is that 41? The 41th Traveling Chocobo being listed for $150,000, which is freaking crazy, man. That's insane. And I found this article here where they actually kind of talk a lot about all the people who've been pulling their Golden Chocobos. So yeah, as we can clearly see, very expensive cards, and if you pull one, let me know in the comments below. So now that we've looked into the prices of these cards, let's start getting into the juicy bits. What are the chances of you pulling one of the 77 Golden Chocobo cards? Well, guys, I hate to break it to you, but this is probably going to be one of the lowest numbers I've ever reported on this channel so far. So just a quick disclaimer, Wizards of the Coast doesn't really disclose certain information about how many packs they've made or how many cards they've printed, especially when it comes to newer sets like Final Fantasy and Secret Lair cards. And Secret Lair cards are also different. They only make them in limited quantities because they are kind of like a special event in a way. So keep that in mind. However, I have certain numbers that I've already broken down that we're going to look at today to see how likely it is to pull a Golden Chocobo. And guys, you're probably gonna tear up a little bit. So there's only 77 golden chocobo cards in the entire world. So if we do a little bit of calculating here, the percent chance of you pulling one of these out of those 10 million packs is 0.0007% chance. But let me give you a little bit of hope, because let's cut that in half and imagine that there was only 5 million of the collector's edition packs made, which does increase our odds a little bit. So out of 77 cards in the world, that brings our percent chance of pulling one up to 0.00154% chance. But out of hope, let's just say there was only 1 million packs printed for the collector's edition Final Fantasy set. Well, it's still pretty freaking low, man, okay? We are looking at 0.007% chance. Astronomically low. So just to put this all into perspective, if 10 million packs were created, that is 1 out of every 129,870 packs. If 5 million packs are out there, that's 1 out of 64,935 packs. And if 1 million packs are out there, that is 1 out of 12,987 packs. So yeah, don't get your hopes up for these ones. These are pretty crazy if you ask me. And I mean, the price is really showing for it. These cards are going for crazy numbers. But hey, you still got your chance of getting the traveling chocobo, which I mean, they seem more common, but you know, golden cards are ridiculous. But hey, listen, you know, Final Fantasy set has got some fantastic looking cards. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're gonna finally finalize your Final Fantasy collect. I'm gonna stop doing that. It's not even fun anymore. You're just gonna really enjoy this set. So pay for the chance, stay for the cards. You know, the cards are beautiful. But anyways, now that we've discussed all this stuff, let's open up some packs and let's see if we can pull something good. All right, you've made it to the best part of the video where we finally start to crack open some packs. So guys, I went to my local card shop and I bought the pre-release kit. As you can see right here, it comes with a really nice dice. You can get one of 15 and there's some rare dice. And of course we get a gold stamped land card. We got Midgard, very nice indeed. So yeah, we got 6 regular booster packs we're gonna be opening today. You can't get the golden chocobo without buying the collector's boosters, but those are going for about $70 each. And I was like, you know what? Why not just get the pre-release kit? I mean, this is a very new set anyways, so this can introduce myself and you guys, ooh, this is a nice looking card, into the game if you still haven't bought any yet. And so far, I really gotta say, I do enjoy the art of these cards. Final Fantasy is a fantastic series. I will admit, I have not played too many of them. Final Fantasy VII will always be an OG, will always be one of the OG games for me. But there's definitely a lot of characters I'm not going to recognize still. This is a beautiful swamp, by the way. But yeah, not bad for the first pull. I really enjoy the Secret Lair series, which again, may be a controversial... Oh my god, look at that card. Which may be a little bit of a controversial take, but... I do like that Magic's doing this. I think it's a really fun way to bring new people into the card game itself, and it's really unique. And look at the art of these cards. These cards are fantastic. Look at this, Eden, Seed of the Sanctum. Oh my gosh. Evil Awakened. Okay, I'm digging these cards. These are very nice. Ooh, Adventures In. That's pretty. I like that. I'm a big land guy. We got another one. Very cool. Windurst. Very nice indeed. All right, we got 2 packs open, but yeah, guys. So the last time I actually invested in Secret Lair cards, believe it or not, was the Lord of the Rings series. So obviously, I love Lord of the Rings, and I just figured, why not? I didn't really know at the time that Secret Lair cards were going to basically disappear off the face of the earth because I wasn't really knowledgeable about the market, but you know, I'm very thankful I have that set because I cannot find Lord of the Rings cards anywhere. Oh, look at this. Ooh, not bad. Summon GF Ifrit. Okay. All right. I'm really digging these cards. We got an Ice Flan. Not too bad at all. But, ooh, another land. We love it. Trino, Dark City. But yeah, like, the thing is like, I'm glad that I invested in that Secret Lair series. And, of course, Final Fantasy is massive. So I figured, why not? Let's do a video. Let's talk about it. But so far, with summoning Fat Chocobo, oh, that's hilarious. We found our Chocobo, guys. But so far, I gotta say, these cards are just drop-dead gorgeous. We haven't pulled anything crazy yet, but I am really enjoying this. Ooh, Garland. We love that. Oh, we got another land. Very cool. 2 lands. Capital City. Nice. Very nice pull here. And we're just getting lands. Oh, here we go. We got a little art card. These are pretty cool. So, I mean, are these just like a little gimmicky kind of thing Magic's doing? I'm only just starting to realize what these are. I've only been starting to buy packs lately. Yeah, I mean, they're cool and all, but are they worth anything? Well, let's find out if we pull something good. We got another fat chocobo. 2, I had to do like a double take looking at that. But yeah, so far, so good, guys. A lot. Instant ramen. All right, we like that. We like that card. But yeah, what kind of decks are you guys planning on making with the Final Fantasy set? Are you going to be making Cloud? You're going to be making a Sephiroth deck? Oh, that's a really nice looking card right there. What is your strategy? Because there's so many character cards you can put in this. Delivery Moogle, we like that. The lands in these packs are crazy. And oh, nice! We got a gold stamped card. Okay, an art card. All right, this is the first of my, this is the first time I've got one of those. I actually just looked it up and it's worth like $8, which I thought would be worth a little more, but I guess, you know, it is just a little bit of a side thing. But how cool is that? Pulling a gold stamped card. Ooh, Barnabas looking good. Wow. I actually looked at the price of that card. Apparently it's not that much, but hey, this is the regular set. I know Wizards of the Coast. I know they were putting their money into the collector's boosters, but I'm still really enjoying these cards right now. We're on our last pack, and guys, looks like we found our Chocobo. How funny is that? But yeah, guys, these are really nice cards. I really enjoyed this set, and yeah, this is great. Alright guys, and there you have it. That is the full breakdown of the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering Secret Lair collaboration, okay? I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, guys. Treasure Theory, we're going to be exploring all types of cards, okay? We're already touching Magic. We got Magic, One Piece, Pokemon. Let me know in the comments below, do you want to see more videos like this? Do you want me to expand my reach a little more? And if you want to stick around, another video should pop up on the screen. Be sure to click it, and I will see you over there. The new Final Fantasy set for Magic the Gathering is creating mass hysteria over these 1 of 77 Golden Chocobo cards, and the reason will blow your mind. Today, we'll be looking at why and seeing what the likeliness of pulling one of these Golden Chocobo cards is for ourselves. The fantasy is finally over. We finally got a Final Fantasy collaboration with Magic the Gathering that is finally here, and I'm saying final way too much. The Magic
Hi and welcome to my first YouTube video. Today I wanted to open a Final Fantasy Collector Booster Box for my sponsor Games Island, and I'm super excited. Briefly, something about me. I mainly create Magic the Gathering content on Instagram, but now I wanted to create more content for YouTube as well. So feel free to follow me for more Magic the Gathering content. The display currently costs around 600 euros. I don't think we can get a value out of it, but let's see. Now let's open the boosters. So, first thing I have to say, I don't know anything about Final Fantasy, so shame on me. But I really like the artwork, but I never played it. Yeah, so I have no idea what the characters are and what they do especially, but the cards, I had the chance to look at the cards at the Dokomi exhibition in Düsseldorf last weekend, and the cards were super nice. And now I'm so excited to open this collector box. So we have 12 booster packs. And we maybe get one of the serialized chocobos. I don't know how to pronounce it, but let's see. So I will open the first one. And the best card is in the front, so we need to have a look at the first 5 cards. These are the rares. And Okay, spoiler. So, oh, I didn't do it well, so we have the first rare. And here's a mountain. Now the uncommons. But these artworks are also so non-foil rare. Another non-foil. These look so cool. Ooh, Sir Conrad. Can play it in every black deck, I think. So really nice. I also like the artworks of these. And Kefka in the Final Fantasy background artwork. This one is from Final Fantasy VI. You can see it here. It's a symbol. So, first rare or mythic in the full art foil. So let's open the second one. And now do it right. I think there are 6 rares. Also spoiler, also a spoiler. Yeah. So first uncommons. Oh, sweet. Wastes, that's also cool. Ultima, that's also a nice card. Gogo from the Commander Precon. Barrett also from the Commander Precon. Ooh, Clive. Mythic. Azusa Lost But Seeking. This one is so beautiful. Oh my god. I love it. And also in foil. And Esper Origins. So let's see what we can get in the third booster pack. I definitely need that cloud. It's a super strong card. I really like it. So please give me one cloud at least. So no double-sided. Ooh, but here, uncommon with this Final Fantasy background in foil and Secret Rendezvous. There are also different artworks for this one. I also really like that there are so many legendary creatures. Ooh, this one is also very nice. Lightning Army of One. And one from the Commander Precons. Ooh, Bahamut. This is one of the more expensive ones. It's this super cool saga for 9 mana, but it's really strong, so very cool. Doesn't flip. Oh, it's only this side. And ooh, this is one I think you play in CDH. It's Vile Smasher the Fierce. But these artworks look stunning. Some people don't like it, but I love them. Ooh, and the Surge foil. These are also pretty rare, so this looks super cool. crazy how expensive these packs are, but the artworks are.
Two visionary pioneers, Ohana Development and Jacob & Co., have united to create an extraordinary masterpiece. Jacob & Co. Beachfront Living by Ohana. This exclusive partnership welcomes a new era of coastal luxury, where sophistication seamlessly meets the serene beauty of Al Jurf, located between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Together, these innovators introduce an unparalleled standard of beachfront living, redefining elegance, innovation, and timeless design. Welcome to a world of...
The only fantasy here is yours, and we shall be its final witness. What up, everybody? It's your girl Zbex, and today I've got a super special video for you because I'm a Magic ambassador for Final Fantasy. That's right, one of my favorite RPGs of all time is coming to Magic, and Wizards sent me a collector booster box.
Prices. Let's look at Double Masters 2022 first. When it came out, you can see it is a hype season that then falls. This is all the way through the next year. This one is falling. We've got Commander Masters. This one jumped a little bit earlier, but you can also see here, it starts high expected value wise and trends downward. You've also got Modern Horizons 2. There is that point where things jump, but what is consistent with all of these sets is the pre-order prices start high and then fall off. This is the expected value of packs of these sets that you could open, what they start out as, what you could potentially open, not counting commons, by the way, just uncommons, mythics, and rares for all of these sets. You see the trend: start high, fall off, start high, fall off. It is consistent nearly every single time. So looking at some of the singles prices on this set right now in particular, they're ridiculous, y'all. It's Pokemon style out here. Oh, but Joel, those weren't IP sets. This is an IP set. It's got to be treated differently. There's no way that there's going to be that dissension. These prices are for real. All right, let's look at the top card in the top IP set prior to Final Fantasy. It starts high, it goes low. Does it go up over time? Yeah, this was the #1 pick. This was the tip top card of the set that doesn't belong to a famous rapper. And so when you look at this card and there's that very slight fall off, like there always is, you start to go, oh, maybe this is a trend. Sauron, one of the other top hits here in the borderless poster version, starts high, goes low. The One Ring Showcase version starts high, goes low. Orcish Bowmasters starts high, goes low. Do they go up? Yes, absolutely they do over time. The tip top cards typically do, and we'll talk about that. But I want to show you the trend. This is down in the 20th most expensive card range of the entire set. You're looking at a market price foil 91, market price 65 card. There's the fall before the rise. That's what happens nearly every time with nearly every single card that is printed in Magic the Gathering. Now, looking at the tip-top examples there from Universes Beyond Lord of the Rings, you can see they don't stay down for long. Most of the middle to low stuff falls off heavy, and you saw how long it can take for some of that stuff to recover with the charts from Double Masters 22, Commander Masters, sets like that. The tip top cards, though, even those tend to fall and then rise. It happens much more quickly, and maybe even that very top card, because there's always that #1 super chase card in sets, maybe that one doesn't actually have the dip, but for 99% of Magic cards, there's going to be a fall off before there's going to be a rise. I just want to drive that point home before we get to the next section. So when I'm seeing boxes go for $722 right now online, and I'm watching box openings like Saffron Olives. Saffron opened up 5 collector boxes of this product, $700 each on those 5 boxes for a total of $3,500. Now I'm going to go over numbers from his video to make a case for my video, but what I want you to do is go and give Saffron's video some love. This one's not going to do near as well as his video has done by any means. I just want to make sure you go over there. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment for all of the videos that I'm going to go through today and all of the channels that I'm going to mention or shout out. Please go click on their links, go leave a heart comment on their video or something. Show them some love because I'm basing a lot of my information on what I've seen around the internet. So what Saffron does with his box openings when he goes to price them and see if he can kind of guess the EV, especially early during preview season, he applies a 40 to 50% drop on all those prices just out of the gate. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be much closer than preview prices to go ahead and say, I'm going to take half the cost of that. That's a good rule of thumb, I think, during preview season, prior to that release weekend, not even pre-release weekend, release weekend. Leading up to that, I'm going to look at a card price, any single price, and I'm going to go, that's actually going to be half that in 6 weeks. That's going to be half that in 8 weeks or so. Like I said, 99% of cards, that applies to. The top 1%, they act a little differently, and we'll talk about the chases in the set that are going to give you any value. But with Saffron, he is calculating ahead of time a 50% drop off. The total singles value for Saffron's 5 collector boxes that were $3,500 total was $2,323 of value. That means Saffron's 5 boxes lost $1,177 total. To break even, those 5 boxes would have had to have been $450. And you know what's crazy? The MSRP that Wizards suggested for this set is $450 for a collector box. When I saw that, and then I started exploring other collector box openings that had already been posted, I went and saw Veggie Wagons. I watched Master Case get opened over on Bad Boy Gaming. I watched Jake open his box on Martitious Magic. I watched Zebek's opening, and she actually got a Neon Chocobo. Again, make sure you go watch all of these openings. Go give some love to those channels. All the links are in the description. And then I talked to my buddy Lance over at Rip and Ship. Lance and his team have opened 60 English collector boxes and 10 Japanese collector boxes through their pre-sales that they've been streaming over the last few days, which I've been watching a lot of. Across all the openings, across all the channels, one thing has been consistent. If you're not hitting a Neon Ink Chocobo or a serialized Chocobo, getting your value back on a $700 box is nearly impossible. I asked Lance if I could use his video of him hitting a Neon Chocobo in this section of the video to highlight the fact that these packs, those last 2 slots, that's what you're aiming at, and it is completely feast or famine. If you are in that last slot hitting a Surge foil, and it's the right Surge foil, you're probably in good shape. Obviously, if you're hitting a Neon Ink Chocobo or a serialized Chocobo, you're definitely in fantastic shape. Your value was insane on the box. However, looking at the Surge foils, it's hard to say whether or not all of these are going to hold the value that they have right now, especially when you look at historic comps. I have never seen cards with this power level at this pre-order price level. It's kind of crazy to me. It seems like there's a lot of pre-order pricing based on character and not power level. Like there's a ton of that. With power level, this set is solid. It's not game breaking. A lot of the most powerful stuff I've seen are creatures that have to be in combat or some of the very few bonus sheet hits that are good value and don't look super strange. But you're seeing it in those last 2 pack slots that have the heat. You can get foil alternates of like just rares from the set. You can get foil alternates of sagas whose power level doesn't really look great and isn't going to have the same pull that a named character would have. You're really trying to hit Surge foils of top characters with that game number treatment behind them, that showcase borderless Surge foil card. If you're looking at this specifically from a value point of view, you can see here, these pre-order prices, if these come down by half, that feels closer to right. These are some of the 1% pulls. If you do happen to hit one of these, I'm trying to make a case of how difficult it is to get the right card in this slot and make one of these boxes worth it. But if you do hit one of these, right now, Cloud Midgar Mercenary Borderless Surge Foil is like $600. That feels like a $300 card to me if we half it. Again, that's like tip top. That's the toppiest ones. The fall off won't be as stark for those, but some of these down in this mid range, Kefka Court Mage in the Borderless Surge Foil, Squall in the Borderless Surge Foil, these are famous characters, but Vincent Valentine Borderless Surge Foil, I just have a feeling that some of these are not going to hold some of the hype prices, some of these insane preview prices that we're seeing right now. And look, I'll tell you, mostly when I was seeing these packs opened, it was like Jill, which I think this row down, I think these prices are going to tank compared to where they're at right now. You've got Surge Foils in that uncommon slot that are in that $10 range right now. You got some that don't obviously have any price because there's no listings because this is a brand new set right now. I just think that right now, as I made a case for early on, these prices are insane, and so to judge the value of the box off of these Surge Foils in particular is just not doing it for me at all. So then there's the Neon Chocobo. It's estimated right now, I've seen people estimating that it's like 1 in every 500 collector boosters. That means it's going to be even less the rarer you get in color, and super even less for an actual serialized Chocobo, which personally I haven't seen on camera yet. I've seen quite a few neon blues. I've seen one neon green, but I have not seen a serialized pop-up yet. And then the difficult part of this is taking all of these observations and trying to moosh them into some sort of recommendation. I don't know if the price of these boxes is going to go down. I'm 99% sure that the prices of the cards will. That's what always happens. I just can't see how this is sustainable with versions of Cloud over $500. That seems crazy to me, especially right from the get-go. That feels like nostalgia traps for people who don't really get Magic the Gathering or haven't engaged with it before, which there's going to be a lot of with this set. It's already the best-selling set of all time. We know that in advance. And so for me to sit here and go, yeah, you shouldn't open this box for any more than $600. Like, that would be my ceiling of opening this box at this point. And really, $500 is where I think it should be if this was a normal world. If these cards didn't have these IP faces on them, I just don't see this set doing what it's doing right now based on power level, which would be the typical thing that would move a Magic the Gathering set. Because we are in IP world, Universes Beyond land now, and things are happening that I've never seen before, I'm just trying to communicate my observations to you as I'm seeing them, so hopefully we can help make these decisions together. Now, please be aware, when we're having this conversation, I'm talking specifically collector product, collector boxes and collector commander decks, which with those, we're talking in this video specifically about the collector box, but those collector commander decks, if you can find them anywhere, go buy them. If it's a price that you're like, okay, I've got that money, I'm not gonna miss my rent because I bought this, go buy them for that price. They're like impossible to find. I don't even know what to recommend with those. But specifically with this video, we're not talking about play boxes and we're not talking about the regular commander decks. Those are going to be printed so much. And I think a lot of what I'm feeling about the prices as they are right now with some of these pre-order cards that are driving the value in these openings I'm watching is that they are also available in play boxes, which are going to be printed into the dirt. A lot of the very same treatments. These Surge Foil borderless cards in non-Surge Foil, the borderless with just the game number behind them, you can get those in regular play packs. Those are available. So it's not like that treatment itself is locked to the Surge Foil treatment either. And so you're going to be able to get playable copies of those, just not in that hot top foil treatment, which will drive the collectability side of it. Now, let's be clear, that showcase treatment with the number of the game behind the character, you can find those in play boosters and in collector boosters. That's one of the big points I'm trying to make. That is not true with the commanders, with the 8 commanders that come in the precons. Those in non-foil, foil, and surge can only be found in collector boosters. So that is sort of one of the chases on top of what you're looking for with the chocobos in any color. But the fact that it will have a parfait, and this is what I call a parfait, one single card getting multiple treatments. You've got the base.
Pre, dito ko sa B2G. Kung dadaan ka mamaya, may kalaro lang ako. Pero kung may time ka lang. I mean, pupunta ka ba ngayon?
Base Mythic of Cloud Midgar Mercenary pre-selling right now for $24. I think that price is going to go down too. I think all of these prices are going to go down, at least in the short term. Long term, they'll go up. Magic sets act like that a lot. They find a deck, especially in a 60 card format, Modern, Pioneer, that makes the card go up. Standard, that makes the card go up. If a commander deck suddenly has to have that card, that makes the card go up. And we find that over the first 6 weeks of a set typically. But right now, with the parfait being represented from $24 up to $600, I just feel like there's too much disparity here, even though those surge foils are quite expensive. And what I was talking about with the borderless that are available in play packs, $143 card with that borderless non-surge foil Cloud Midgar Mercenary right now, $143 card pulled from a play pack? No thank you. That's not going to stick. That price doesn't work, and it's not a real price, and that is kind of my main point. So that last slot in the packs is really where you're aiming for the surge foil. You've also got the next to last slot in packs that has the Through the Ages bonus sheet. That's where our bonus sheet sits. Now, a Rhystic Study with Tidus and Yuna standing in the water in an iconic Final Fantasy X scene, yeah, I could see that pulling down some dough. But right now, this is $250 for the foil and $170 for the non-foil. You can get this card in a play pack. I want to repeat that. You can get this card in a pack of play boosters from Final Fantasy. This is not locked to the collector box. I feel like some of this pricing is basically treating it as though it is, as though this is a really rare collector's item that won't be in print for long, but it will be. The Through the Ages bonus sheet is in play packs, just not in foil. And that's the difference, I think, that players are acting right now, collector stores are acting right now like all of these cards are super rare and really hard to find, when we know that for a standard set, a play booster experience, having these cards, those are going to get opened for a while. And we know that every pre-release that we can find is sold out right now. People are clamoring for this set. That is good for singles purchasers. That means that the singles in particular are going to go down because there's a lot of this getting opened. That's another reason I'm so confident that it's going to follow a similar trend graph-wise with the prices of these singles. They're going to fall. Be patient on that. And just to reiterate the ridiculousness, that foil price right now is at around $700 for the Rhystic Study from Final Fantasy X. Things are out of hand right now. Yes, this card is only in collector packs, and you could get that, and if it holds this value, man, that could make opening a collector pack worth it. There's a lot of non-hits in those 2 slots as well. I hope by this point I've made the case that those last 2 slots of the collector booster, it's hard to hit a card that is relevant. And even then, if you do, the short term, I think that those prices are going to go down. If you get one early, sell it into the hype. All in all, I wouldn't be opening these boxes for $700. I just don't think you're going to hit your value. Maybe long term, if you just hit the right cards and then sit on them, that's potential. But I would also recommend you just buy singles from this set. Wait 60 days and start buying singles then, because I think you're going to save some money long term and get the cards you want. If you like this video, I appreciate you watching this far. Hit that like button or hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that. I'll catch you in the next one. After the Deadpool Secret Lair, I was hopeful that WotC had this figured out, but obviously they did not. The Final Fantasy Secret Lair has come and gone, and most people have a bad taste in their mouth. It sold out in less than 24 hours, and worse than that, it wasted a ton of people's times. We have a bad website meeting with scalper exploitation, with maximum quantities being a little higher than they should be, and FOMO-fueled design all colliding into the train wreck that happened yesterday. But it's not all doom and gloom. I want to try and give you some advice on how to get these for the cheapest possible on the secondary market while not rewarding scalpers as much as we possibly can. Joel R. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the best way to put your deck lists on the internet. It's funny, on the wall behind me, I've got the uncut War of the Spark sheet that was the apology from the Mythic edition going so poorly. And I think Final Fantasy is just going to get tossed onto the pile. The lines were obtuse, long. People didn't really even know if they were in line. They were getting kicked out. They wasted a ton of their time, and that's really where the most frustration lies with me. People being in line all day, making arrangements to get this product the way that they're being delivered it, and not being rewarded, and not only not being rewarded, but being sort of slapped in the face. It's one thing if you show up on time, you get in the queue and they're like, sorry, you weren't randomly chosen to be one of the purchasers. Stay in line if you want to. As people get their opportunity and don't purchase, we'll add people to the list or whatever, but you didn't get it. Goodbye. At that point, at the very least, you're not wasting your time. You can go back to work or you can go back to whatever you were doing. You don't have to just sit there and watch our little friend walk to the side like we have become so accustomed to. I saw people saying there was a line skip link for this one. I saw people get in ahead of time. So what you can do, the way the website is designed, you can go to the website earlier that day and put something that's already available in your cart and click checkout. It's not going to be allowing checkouts at that time, but it's going to put you into a pool of people that are waiting, and then it randomly assigns everybody an order in that line that were waiting, and then you've got the people that join after. And I think that's where a lot of people lost out on this one, is that over time people have become sort of aware of that. I don't know if you should call it an exploit or if it's just part of the process at this point, but going to the store early and getting into that randomized pool where you'll be putting some random order, but everybody, I'm assuming, gets dumped in the line, and then anybody that jumps in after the fact, I believe, is just added to the end of the line. You can tell me in the comments if your experience was different, if you got in and purchased. I would say if you weren't there in advance and you purchased within 15-20 minutes of it going live, I would say that sort of refutes what I'm saying here. But that is the only known exploit or process that I know to give yourself any better chance. I was there in that randomized pool, and that's, I think, why I had success getting mine. I got the foil weapons and the foil grimoire. Those were the two that I got. But the vast majority of people didn't. I asked you and you responded that nearly 20% of you got everything you wanted, but 63% of you didn't get anything you wanted. And that's kind of ridiculous. The Deadpool one went so well. It's still sold out, but it went well enough where it felt like everybody who wanted it got it. But with this Final Fantasy one, that is definitely not true. Honestly, I think with a better system, a better website, something more transparent that shows you got it or you didn't, don't waste your time, or it's worth staying here and wasting your time to get this thing, something like that would make this way more smooth. There's going to be people who still complain. Obviously, it's a limited product. FOMO is, scarcity is enforced. FOMO is part of the whole model. That's always going to be a part of this. And so they could just fix that by going print to demand, but they've made it very clear that's not what they're going to do. They went to that model and then they swap back. And it's very rare for a major corporation like this to swap how they were doing something and then go, that's not working, and swap back and then go, maybe it was, and then swap back again. That's not happening. So I understand the print to demand complaints, but that's just not a reality most likely, except with those one-offs, those charity ones that they provide that for. And so we just got to work with the system the way it is. And so what I would ask for is a better system. Like I said, a ticket taking system, a number system, a pre-order system. I don't know how that's really any different, but something where we can queue up, get our spot in line, maybe not even have to wait. Can I get a text message when I'm ready to roll? That could be something convenient. It just feels like Hasbro, you've got enough money. You can put a good system around this. Take the proceeds from one of these things in the millions and be like, all right, we're going to fix this system so that at least that part's not a problem anymore. Most of what I'm seeing, though, is people losing all faith that WotC wants to fix this at all. This might just be how it is. From what I've seen, there haven't been enormous cancellation waves. I think that's what the pausing had to do with yesterday when this whole thing was in process. But I feel like the wasted time is the part that I am the most focused on. They need to fix, because that is a pain point that could really smooth a lot of this overall negative process out. I think there was a really perfect storm with this drop. We can see how much hype there has been around this Final Fantasy set. I think it's surpassing even what I expected, and so I would assume it's surpassing what a lot of people expected. This Final Fantasy release season has just been crazy over the top with demand in all arenas, and so having this secret layer be something that's super desirable makes sense to me. There's also going to be scalpers attracted to that. Everything I've heard from Final Fantasy collectors is that Final Fantasy collectors like to spend money. That's something they're very used to, and scalpers are going to know that. And so absolutely there were scalpers. I mean, look at the secondary market already. You've got 3 sets, 3 of each, one of each, basically one of each of the 3 Final Fantasy drops sold for $250 non-foil. That's like $83 per drop non-foil. But look, this is hype pricing right now, and that's one of the big points I want to make in this, and what I'm going to show you with some stats over the next few minutes. Right now, price-wise, I'm seeing the foil price for any of the drops be like $75 to $80. You can see right there, Final Fantasy Secret Lair Weapons foil confirmed order, $75 with $4 delivery, $70 for foil grimoire right there with $8.71 delivery. And so right now, $75, buy it now, weapons non-foil right there. That is around the price that I am seeing for them on the secondary market. However, I don't think it's the time to buy, and let me tell you why. The people that are listing these right now are the scalpers, are the big stores. We bought a ton, and we're confident that they're going to arrive. We bought so many that we are not going to have to cancel 90% of the orders because we know that it's coming in. The individuals that resell this after the fact, Ricky that buys 2 copies to wait and resell one and get the first one for free, that's a legit strategy for individual buyers. But they're not going to have the confidence to list this until after it arrives in hand. And we're not going to get this in hand until shipping is complete. And shipping doesn't start until June 11th, which is, check my calendar, tomorrow as of time of shooting this video. And so I would encourage you to wait like a week or 2 before you go to the secondary market if you didn't get this and you want to buy it on the secondary market. I think that prices are going to go down even further. I know the fervor and the hype seems like a ton right now, but overall, this is something that's very common. Look at the Deadpool Secret Lair. This is the Deadpool Rainbow Foil Edition right there, sold $55, $10 delivery. Foil edition right there. You got individual copies of some of the cards that they broke open, and that's another great point, is that some people, like I was talking about, bought 4 of these just to have 4 lightning bolts or 4 prismatic ending. They're going to sell some of those other copies individually on the secondary market. And so not only sealed secret layers, but individual copies of cards as well are going to be available. Look at this. The Deadpool layer sold out in about 24 hours. Right now you can get a rainbow foil of it for $70. And yes, that's $30 more than this cost. I think this was a $40 layer in foil. I can't remember if this one was a little more expensive, but it's more. I get it, but it's not over the top. It's not double. You're going to be able to find this in a good timeline as long as you wait. Look at the Deadpool April Fool's Day rainbow foil. Had a little bit of hype. People went, oh no, I missed it. Oh no, I missed it. Tank. As soon as people get it in hand and the individual sellers have confidence to put it on the market, that is when you're going to see prices go. Look at Deadpool April Fool's Day non-foil. Boom, 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 tank. We're down into the 50. We're down into the 40s. High 40s for the non-foil. Right now, we're under it. 43. What the heck? Be patient. Look at Secret Layer X Marvel's Deadpool April Fool's Day on TCG Player. Widely available, y'all. $65 with $1 shipping. Here's a certified $61.70 with $4.99 shipping. My point is that even the secret layers that sell out can be purchased on the secondary market. Let's look at the Storm secret layer from the Marvel drop. The last time that this all just went completely sideways and people were so pissed. Yes, right now, $86, $100, $90. This one has doubled, but there's still copies on the secondary market. You can still go get it in some cases, and if you're careful, for less than double what it costs off the secret layer website, and that sucks. I completely understand. But what I'm telling you is if you missed it, your window is going to be at about a week or two, and you're going to want to watch for like 3 weeks until you find a price you're comfortable with and you want to pull the trigger and grab it. That is how you're going to get this the cheapest if you miss the opportunity from the debacle. And honestly, it's the same thing with the Storm layer. If you look at its chart over time, it has evened out right there, but it popped and then it dropped. It's very similar to a lot of how I talk about singles after they get released. Wait, give it a couple of weeks and then you're going to be in a better situation. Don't let FOMO drive you to make a purchase that's dumb right now, or at least help if you wait and save yourself $20. Even over on TCG Player, you've got Marvel Storm for $88, $3 shipping, $91 straight up. That's about double to my memory of what this costs for the rainbow foil, but you can see over the last 6 months, it's not even at its high, 108. It's down to 91. This one is dropping. Watch these secret layers. It's not always all FOMO. And look, I get it. It might just be a crazy one. The Final Fantasy one might change all of everything that's ever happened and act completely differently. It might. But I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of these available because I think that the race to the bottom is going to start as soon as individual sellers have these in their hands, and Ricky just wants to flip that extra copy and be like, I just want to be done with it. I saw that it would be a good idea to buy 2 because this was hyped and I had the opportunity, freaked out and bought them, and now I'm stuck with it. What do? I need to sell it. That's when it's going to be cheapest. And look, if you missed this one and you want some advice for how to not miss these in the future, find a group, find a community. I cannot recommend this enough. With quantity limits not being lowered, you only need one of the pals to get through. We only need Ricky to get through, and Ricky can buy all of it for us, and then we can Venmo him, and hopefully there's no problems with shipping when it has to be reshipped to us. Find a group, join our Discord, go check the description. Our Discord is on Secret Layer days all together. How do we do this? Can you order for me? I'll order for you. If I get through, I'll let you know. Can't tell you how many people got this as a result of, hey, I'm in. Do you want anything? Are you still in queue? I'll order for you. I mean, I know it's like letting your friends in line in front of you, and that's going to piss some people off. But if you want to give yourself the best shot of getting these high demand, low availability secret layer drops, get a community, get a friend group, have multiple people trying to do this together. I can't encourage it enough. Overall, to Wizards, I would encourage some balance. The Deadpool one went pretty well. It's still sold out, so collectors are still going to be happy long term, even though the price of that one is not like exploding in the short term. And people were able to get it. I wish that that had been the case with Final Fantasy, because the collectability is going to be there long term. Maybe not in the short term. You saw what Secret Layers tend to do in the short term, but long term, the collectability is going to be there. I don't know why we couldn't have had more stock. I don't know maybe why the quantity limits couldn't have been lower, or just please get some system going, some website fix that makes it easier and more transparent as to what's going on, so that I don't have to waste my time if I don't have to, and I can just get the thing if I'm going to be given the opportunity. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! Tarkir Dragonstorm is fully released now, and we've got some results back from tournaments online and an RCQ in Denver last weekend that shows us sort of the early impact that this set might be having on different formats. I gotta say, the conversation surrounding it right now mostly has to do with one little piece of equipment, and the fact that for a standard set, the standard meta doesn't seem to have been moved from where it was too much. It's just kind of adjusted a little bit, whereas modern and definitely formats like Commander and CDH are getting huge playable staples that people are really enjoying. Joel R. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Let multiple stores fight over your purchase. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect your cards, and Moxfield, the best way to put your deck lists on the internet. Commander got a huge hit from Tarkir Dragonstorm. Mistrise Village has just been built into like everybody's blue deck. This card is already appearing in 15,000 decks across the entire internet. You've also got Voice of Victory, 2 mana for a 1/3 with Mobilize 2, which means when it attacks, you create 2 tapped and attacking 1/1s that get sacked at the beginning of the next end step. And it says the most important piece here, your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. 14,473 decks as I am making this video that card has been built into. That's fantastic. I love this card a lot, and it's actually popping into different formats, not just CEDH. You've obviously got Elspeth Stormslayer, huge token creator, 5 mana, loyalty 5, planeswalker, the passive of doubling any tokens that would be created, the +1 of creating 2 1/1 tokens, the 0 of giving your whole team flying and +1/+1 permanently, then -3, that's your removal. And that's not even mentioning Ugin, Eye of the Storms. Ugin is absolutely slapping in a couple of different places. We had some results in a modern RCQ last weekend in Denver that I want to look at with you, but there's some really heavy hitters, some under the radar stuff. Teamer Battlecryer popping up in a lot of decks, over 6,000 builds with that one in there so far, letting you cast your spells for 1 less for each creature you've got on the battlefield that's 4 or greater. You've also got Herd Heirloom. I don't know why the H's throw me off so there. It's Herd Heirloom, not Herd Heirloom. One of them is right. I'm not sure which. This one is kind of a sleeper. I've been talking about this one since I saw it. I've been pushing it out to people. Obviously, people are building it into decks. All of the dragon cards, Mox Jasper, Draco Genesis, Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. And then you've got Corey Steel Cutter. Obviously, some Voltron decks, some equipment decks are experimenting with this, but this is the talk of the town card right now. And it's not because of Commander, it's because of Standard and Modern. Modern's really interesting right now. We had a Modern RCQ in Denver last weekend, which is fantastic. We get to see some early players, early explorations of some of these Tarkir Dragonstorm cards. The top 8 was mostly Boros Energy and a deck called Landless Belcher. If you haven't seen Landless Belcher, this is Goblin Char Belcher. It's got a 3 mana activation to reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. card, and then it deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target. It's got more text, but that's irrelevant to the deck because the deck doesn't have any lands. It runs 23 of those MH3 and Zendikar Rising MDFC lands, and then just activates Charbelcher for a library's worth of damage. Anyway, that was number one deck of the top 8 at the Modern RCQ in Denver, so thought it was worth mentioning, even though it didn't run any Tarkir Dragonstorm cards. Let's talk about Ugin Eye of the Storms. Ugin Eye of the Storms was represented 2 copies in the top 8 last weekend. Urzatron got 7th, and Ugin Eye of the Storms was in there. Reading some of the early reports of it on the Modern subreddits and on some of the boards about discussing Modern RCQ last weekend, people weren't really impressed with Ugin Eye of the Storms. I'm going to be interested to see how much further it gets in Modern, if it keeps getting share and people are able to find a good, overall shell for it to go in, or if it's just going to kind of be tested and then fall by the wayside because there were already better options. Voice of Victory showed up in that same Denver RCQ. There were 2 copies in the top 8. They were in the Boros Energy deck though, which I thought was pretty exciting. That deck is locked, probably needs some more bans, but getting new cards into it speaks really highly of Voice of Victory. That deck that ran to Voice of Victory got 2nd place. Reed Duke was on Boros Energy, but he got 3rd place, and he wasn't running Voice of Victory. So Reed, maybe try Voice of Victory next time. You probably know better than me though. I will also say, Voice also showed up in Court of Calling Toolbox decks in some Modern League winners. The Court of Calling deck didn't show up in the RCQ, but in Modern Leagues on MTGO, this deck has been putting up results, and Voice is a 2 of in that deck. It's not just a 1 of, let's go get it in case, we need that toolbox application. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, from the set, and that's Corey Steel Cutter, a red and 1 for an equipment that says equipped creature has +1/+1 trample and haste, and it's got flurry that says whenever you cast your 2nd spell each turn, you create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess, and you can attach this equipment to it. And then it's got an equipment activation of a red and another to equip it to a creature on your battlefield. There's a very interesting deck that is running around with Corey Steel Cutter in it, and that's Jeskai.
The crypto industry moves fast. We can't keep up with everything.
So these are now the most valuable Magic cards that I own, which is kind of crazy to think of because these are brand new cards. Usually when you think of expensive cards, you think of Black Lotus, Mox, whatever, Ancestral Recall, that kind of thing. Well, apparently nobody cares about those cards anymore because Final Fantasy has pretty much eclipsed all of that, it seems. These are some cards that I acquired about a week ago when I went to Magic Con Las Vegas. This was the first Magic Con that I'd been to, and I played in the PTQ that happened on Saturday, which I believe was the biggest PTQ ever. That was an awesome experience, and the whole weekend was an awesome experience. In this video, I'm going to talk about that PTQ in specific and kind of how things played out. But first, we're going to go over these cards here. So what these cards are exclusive promos that you could only get at that weekend event. This Tifa Lockhart here one, this is the entry, like the participation prize that you got for playing in one of the 2 PTQ events that happened. The reason that these are so expensive is because of how exclusive they are, and then also, they have these characters on them, but mainly because of just how few copies of them exist. So for this one, you got it for participating in one of the PTQs only at those events and only on that weekend. 2 of them happened, and I believe there were around 500 players in each. So that means that there's about 1,000 copies of this card in existence. This is the non-foil version. I knew going into the event that these were going to be expensive promos. I saw people online talking about the high cost of entry for entering the event. I think it was like $160 or $170 or something like that. People were saying, yeah, there's no way I'm going to pay that much to enter the event. But you got this just for entering. It was also a sealed event, so you got your 6 packs of Final Fantasy, which isn't nothing. But this was one of the main reasons why I wanted to play in that event. So I knew it was going to be a sought-after card, just I didn't quite realize how sought-after. On the weekend, people were selling these cards for about $100. Vendors, there were tons of vendor booths. They were buying these for $120 and then selling them for $300. So for the vendors, it probably seemed pretty great. You know, it's pretty much just an instant double up, even more than double up on their money. That was on the Saturday, so there would be one PTQ on the Friday and one on the Saturday. By the Sunday morning of the event, though, these were already selling for $1,000, which is what they're still selling for now, minimum $1,000 for the non-foil, which you got just for entering the event. So anyone that played in the event got like 8 times their value back or something like that just for entering. This one, though, this is where it gets pretty crazy. This is the foil version. This is what you got for placing in the top 128 players in either of those 2 events. So since this was only available at those 2 events for the top 128 players, that means that there are 256 copies of this that exist in the world. That's it. On the Sunday of the event, I was talking with one of the vendors and they were saying how they heard that somebody had graded and sold one of these that day for $3,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but even then I was thinking that doesn't sound like really that much for how hard this card is to find. And that turned out to be true because currently this card is selling for about $5,300 At any given time, you might find somewhere between 4 and 6 of them for sale, but as I said, only 256 copies of this exist, so there aren't really that many of them. So to be able to go and play in just an open event that was open to anyone, as long as you registered before the event filled up, which you needed to register months in advance, being able to get both of these was kind of insane. I also came home with these after the weekend. I didn't win these. This is the Cloud Midgar Mercenary promo that was given out to the Pro Tour competitors. I believe there's around 350 copies of this that exist, because there was slightly over 300 people in the Pro Tour. There is a Japanese version of this as well that was given out as a promo at the recent Magic Spotlight in Chiba. However, that one is in Japanese language, so it's not the exact same card. I wasn't planning to get these over the weekend because I knew that they were already going to be really expensive. I looked at the price before going. It was around $4,000. I had a friend who asked me to look for one before he realized just how expensive it was. But then as I was, right before I was leaving on Sunday actually, I saw this at a vendor booth. They had several of them, and they were priced at $2,000 each, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, I know that's a lot of money, but seeing the price of this even beforehand, that seemed like a very good deal. You know, it was a unique opportunity that came up right then, and I needed to make a decision. I asked them if I bought multiple ones, could I get any kind of discount? They gave me 5% off, so these came up to $1,900 each. Currently, they're selling for about $4,000 still. That's for the non-foil version. There is a foil version that exists as well, but that's even more exclusive than any of these cards. That was given out to the top 32 competitors at the Pro Tour, so I would believe that only 32 copies of it exist. You can find some of those for sale online. You can get them if you want to spend about $30,000. That's a bit much for me, but you know, if you want to get them, they're available. So I find it just kind of crazy that, you know, I've been playing Magic for years and years, and there've always been these old cards that everyone wanted, you know, the expensive ones that everyone likes to go after, all the old Power 9 and things like that. But then all of a sudden, these new cards come out, and people just don't care about those old ones anymore. They just want these. So that's the story with these cards. But I said I was going to talk about that PTQ, which is where I got these 2 cards. This is the one that was awarded to the top 128 players, so that means that I did pretty good in it. I do like to play Magic competitively. It's something that I've liked to do for a long time now. You know, I've done the thing where I try to grind out events and go to Grand Prix and stuff like that. I want to play on the Pro Tour. I never have. It would be cool if I can do it someday. But the opportunities to earn invites don't really come up that often for me, because things like PTQs that happened over this past weekend, they don't really happen that much anymore. They used to be more of a thing, more like Grand Prix and stuff like that, where, you know, you can just go to one event, and if you do well, you win an invite. But more often than not now, you'll see events where it's like, you have to win a tournament, which gets you an invite to something, which then gets you, you know, qualifies you for another invitational, and then after that, you have to do this and this and this, and eventually you can get to the Pro Tour, but there's so many hoops that you have to jump through. So when there's the opportunity to go to one of these PTQs, especially for a sealed one in particular, where, you know, you don't need to do standard metagaming and things like that, It's just, you know, you play, if you get lucky, you can just open a really good pool and do well. But a sealed PTQ where you do good in this one event and you can qualify, that's perfect for me. I love those kinds of events. So this event, there were around 500 players, I believe 511, and it was a 2-day event. Day 1 was 8 rounds, and then for day 2, the top 32 players went on to play again and do a draft. So right now, we're going to take a look at the deck that I played. So this was the deck that I ended up playing. This is a green-black deck, and I had done quite a bit of testing before this event in preparation. I played a lot of drafts on Magic Online, and in the drafts, I found that this was exactly the kind of deck that I wanted to play. I found that I really liked any combination of Jund colors. It could be straight up Jund, or it could be green-black, or red-green, or red-black, but any combination of those is what I wanted to play, and I opened a pool that had some very good green and black cards. The reason that I like decks like this in this format is because, for one, you're playing black, so you have access to a lot of removal. That's kind of the same in basically any limited format, but with Jund colors, I found that you can build some really grindy decks that can get a lot of extra value from self-mill and dumping things in the graveyard and recursion, things like flashback and things like that, to the point where you can just grind your opponents out. It can even get to the point where you run the risk of just milling yourself out because you're in such a dominant position, you keep on recurring everything, but you just go through your entire deck. So you can see here, I didn't open any particularly useful non-basic lands, so I just played 10 swamps, 7 forests. It worked. In the 2 drops here, we had Reno and Rude. This card is good, I think. It never really did that much, but if you can get an aggressive start, a 2-1 with Menace is good, and you can get some extra value out of it. Undercity Dire Rat, this card is good as well. It's a 2-2 for 2, and when it dies, you can get a treasure, so that can be quite relevant. You know, it's sacrifice fodder, it's a good blocker. Sometimes your opponent doesn't even want it to die because maybe you really need that treasure. Demon Wall, I like this card. This is a very good blocker, and this can be a finisher late game because all that it needs is a counter on it in order to be able to attack. You don't have to use this ability. Just as long as it has a counter on it, it can attack. So if you can find some other card to put a counter on it, that'll work. Or you can just activate its ability. Another cool thing is you can activate this multiple times. So late game, you can just keep on activating this over and over and keep on growing this like infinitely. Make a giant creature to attack with Menace. This was a Finn the Fangbearer. Finn is a reprint. We know it's good. I've actually died to this in Limited from poison counters before because my opponent had the flying thing with Death Touch and I couldn't block it and I just died to poison counters. That wasn't in this event. That was at the pre-release, I think. But Finn is good. Have a Geisel Greens here. This is kind of one of the cards that I was talking about where you can start getting extra value out of it because, you know, it's a 2-2 for 2 with upside, but then later on in the game you can flash it back to get some extra value. This is also a good card to be able to mill over, to dump in your graveyard and kind of draw an extra card that way. And then there's this card, Goo Goo Gardener. You know, it's a good blocker. It ramps you. It's a mana dork. It's pretty decent. When we start getting into the 3 and 4 drops, though, you're going to see where the grindy value really starts happening. So Shinra Reinforcements. This card is very good. It's a 2-3 for 3. When it enters, you mill 3 and you gain 3 life. But milling 3 is very good in this format if you build your deck properly because you can just dump stuff in your graveyard that you can get extra value out of later, or you can recur it with other cards. Maybe you want to put a giant creature in your graveyard just so you can buy it back with another card. This thing is pretty good, this Arimon. You know, it's a 2-2 flying Death Touch for 3, but you can also sacrifice things to draw cards and get extra value. X-Death is pretty great. It works well with that Shinra Reinforcements because you want permanents in your graveyard. You can flip this over and get a giant creature with trample for just 3 mana. The gaining 3 life is very relevant too. This, combined with the Shinra Reinforcements, was really big. Being able to have those cards and also recur them with other cards to just keep on gaining 3 life over and over, that made a really big difference, that extra life gain. This card is cool too, Adventurer's Airship. You can get a lot of extra value out of this. It's basically like doing an impersonation of Smuggler's Copter, where you can attack, pitch something that you can reuse out of your graveyard later. This can get a lot of extra value for you. In the 4 drops, here's one of those cards that I was talking about pitching, the Final Days. You can just throw this in your graveyard and later on in the game cast it for 6 mana and end up getting like 5 or 6 2/2s. That can be a game-ending card right on its own. This card is really good, I think. Fini, Cheerful Lassie, I guess, or whatever. It's basically just a Gravedigger plus. You know, Gravedigger is a I believe it's a 4-mana 2/2 that rebuys you a creature from your graveyard. Well, this is a 4-mana 3/2 that mills you 2 when it comes into play, and you return any permanent from your graveyard to your hand. You can also meld it if you have the other part. I didn't have it, but this card is very good just on its own. This is another thing that can really get your value engine going. Getting up to the top end here, we've got Fat Chocobo, which is a really good card. It's a 5-mana 4/4, but it comes with a 2/2 that has upside. It gives your stuff trample. This is a really good thing to be able to recur, to rebuy with things like Vanille there. I did that many times. Then way up on the top end, this is also where you see the value. Things like this T-Rexar. The whole cycle of these are ones where early on you can just cycle it away to fix your mana and then rebuy it with something later on, like this card or with one of these cards here we're going to get to in a moment. And then Summon Primal Odin. This was kind of the only really powerful card that I had in my deck, but it was very important. I won multiple games using this second ability. I think this card is very good. It's a strong creature. It's a 5/3. It's a removal spell on a creature. It's great for recurring because you can get value out of it, lots of value, and then when it dies, if you can get it back, you can just get that value again. It's something that has to be answered, otherwise you just straight up win the game. And then you can also draw 2 cards and have each player lose 2 life. So this is a card that you really want to be able to recur. Then in my non-creatures here, I had a few removal spells, which is good. You always want removal. I had the Sephiroth's Intervention, the Cornered by Black Mages. I had this Fatal Push here. This one was quite good. There was one game that was a little bit unfortunate with how Fatal Push works, where I needed to be able to destroy a 3-mana creature, but couldn't because I couldn't turn on Revolt, but Fatal Push it's a good card. Had this fight on. This is one of my favorite cards in the format, and this is what I was talking about with cards that can rebuy things, because this is instant. You can rebuy 2 things. You can start doing some really grindy stuff where you do some self-mill, smooth out your draw early on, and also you can just dump it in the graveyard and get value later on. Blitzball Shot is great. It's funny, before the event started, I was saying that what I wanted, before I even opened my pool, I was saying that what I wanted to do was play a Primal Odin, and that after blockers are declared, play Blitzball Shot to give it trample and kill someone with its second ability, and that exact thing happened in this event, so I thought that was very satisfying for that to happen. Ring of the Lucii here. I think this card is good. It ramps you by 2, but also it's kind of like a removal spell almost, because you can keep on tapping stuff. I like playing this card in pretty much any deck that I play in this format. Same goes for Lunatic Pandora. This is another really grindy one, because you can be surveilling early on, dump stuff into your graveyard that you can use for extra value later on, but also this is a removal spell for anything, any non-land permanent, so I like this card quite a bit. So that was the deck that I played, but we're going to take a look at some of the other cards in my pool because
every millisecond counts. Less latency, lag, packet loss, no disconnects to...
Hey everyone, Final Fantasy released today, Friday, June 13th, and what I expected came true, which is that the prices have come falling down quite hard and quite fast. And remember, this is because prior to the release date, at least on TCG Player, only the certified hobby shops, stores that have a storefront are able to list on TCG Player. And so they take advantage of that pre-sale time, and I don't blame them for that, right? Because they are able to do it, and then people can order it earlier and maybe get their cards earlier or something like that, or whatever the case is. But because they can do that, it kind of also drives FOMO up. Everyone looks at the price of the sealed products, at the price of the singles, and they're like, I mean, look at the chart. Look at the 3-month chart for this is the play boosters. It just goes up. It went, it was around like 145 and it just kept going up and even surpassed $200 before the release date. Now, the trick that I found out is that on TCG Player, the release is technically at like midnight on the morning of the release date. So actually last night, and it's Eastern time. So last night at 12 a.m. Eastern on June 13th, the pre-sale thing ended and people were able to list. Non-certified hobby shop sellers were able to list, and there's the potential at that time for some interesting price movement and price pickups, because if people are active and listing and stuff, like they're all gonna come out and list at the same time, and there's kind of like a slight race to the bottom, right? Because people just want to get their listing at the top. The way TCG Player works is it just shows you the cheapest price. And so if you look at the chart, it just comes crashing down pretty hard. But surprisingly, I'm actually pretty surprised that the play boosters right now in the morning of the Friday 13th, it is sitting at about 171. And if we look at the sales data, you'll be able to see boxes under 170. You see right here, 164. And we keep going back. 164, 164. A lot of boxes were listed at 164 and sold at 164. 12 boxes right here sold 164. And so if you're watching closely, and if it's like a product that's very popular, like Final Fantasy is, and potentially the upcoming Spider-Man set, Avatar, or anything else, maybe it is a good idea to stay up late on the day of the release in hopes of trying to catch some of these lower prices. But of course, 164 is still nowhere near as good as I think a couple of weeks ago they were going for 145. So during that TCG Player Mayhem where they had the 10% cashback, it was going for 145 and you could get 10% store credit back during that time. So that was a really, really good opportunity to get it, but it's okay if you didn't. A lot of these sold for 164, and right now it is sitting at 171, which isn't too much higher. But don't forget, play booster boxes, they will get reprinted. We're not certain when. It could be soon, it could be a couple months from now, but before the end of the year, before the holidays, certainly there's going to be a reprint. I definitely see this going into the 160s, potentially 150s again. But if you wanted to get some, now could be a good time to get some, because it certainly is better than over $200. Now, let's take a look at the collector boxes. And again, the collector boxes have also fallen, right? The collector boxes before the release date, it had gotten to about $850. And right now they're sitting at $35 or so, $735-ish, but there's only 2 boxes at $735, and then it goes up to $747, 2 more boxes. There's 2 and then 8, but you see all of these sellers are not the certified hobby shop sellers, so they were not able to list prior to the end of the pre-sale. And now that pre-sale has ended, the release is officially here. Any of these sellers, including this seller with 20 sales and this seller with 15 sales, are able to list. And these types of sellers generally, or just the more sellers there are, more supply, it makes the price go down. But of course, this is a very highly sought after product. It's a very good product. It's Final Fantasy. I don't expect this price of under 800 to last for very long. And if you were waiting for this opportunity, I would, this could be a very good time. Potentially the last few times, last few opportunities, last few days where this product is under $800. So if you wanted to get it, go for it now, because I don't see this coming back to the mid to low 700s again. Certainly, there could definitely be, but it's going to be short-lived. Now, what is going on with the singles prices, right? So obviously, buy singles if you just want the cards. If you want to gamble, buy sealed product. Buy the sealed collector product for gambling. Buy the play booster boxes if you just want to crack packs. Certainly if you want to draft, it's the only way to draft. But if you want specific cards, buy the singles. And same thing goes for the singles as did the sealed. Especially for the singles, actually, you must wait. Do not buy singles pre-sale, because look at the prices of the singles now. Here, I've selected a couple popular ones, even the Surge foil ones that can only come in the collector booster. Like here we have the Cloud Midgar Mercenary Borderless Surge foil. So this is only available in the collector booster. And after release, you can see that it has crashed from, I don't know, somewhere in the 400s, and is sitting at 240, 239 right now. If you look at the sales data, we can see like there was just a couple of sales ago, it was about 300. Right now, the last sale was 240. And a couple of days, like they were in the high 200s. And if we go back even further, they were in the 300s. Somebody on May 13th, exactly a month ago, paid $600. Two people paid $600 for this. Do not buy these cards that early, even if it's something that only comes in collector and is very popular or whatever. I even expect this card and others like it, like this Sephiroth Borderless Surge foil, which again only comes in the collector boosters. I expect them. I think there's a potential they could go down even further. I haven't played with or against, or that I heard that the Cloud card isn't that good of a card. This is just what I hear, but I have no experience with it. But if that's true, I think that the demand for it will be lower than expected, and the price could continue to fall. Now, if you look at Sephiroth, again, price after release, before release, it was like in the 400s, upper 300s. It's still actually 365 right now, which is pretty high. And you can see that it dropped to the 200s. And it's actually going back up. So this card, this is what it means. I'm guessing, first of all, the art's incredible, but I'm guessing that this card is actually like the real deal. Like this card is really good. Not sure if this is being played right now in like modern or standard, but if it is, the price is going to go up even more. But it does seem like a card that a lot of people want for Commander, which again is like the most popular format in Magic. So this is probably the best version of this card. Well, the Amano one is pretty good also. But anyway, this card is, Surge foil only comes in collector boosters. And so the price seems to be going back up. Not sure if it will keep going up, but it's sitting at 365. If we look at the sales data, see, the last two that were sold was 278. But the one before that was 409 and then 370. Very volatile pricing. 370, 399, 395, 395, 299, 270, 409. But there are a good number of them under 400 right now, which is pretty wild to me. All right, so here is the borderless version. This is not Surge foil. You can get this in any play booster pack. So this version, and sorry, it's not a mono. It's Tetsuya Nomura is the artist. I think this one looks better than the art for the other one. Just my own subjective opinion. But you can get this version and even the play booster. So I do expect the price of this version of this card to decrease over time, probably, unless this is a card that's going to be played in the tournament meta. But as you can see, the price has been falling very sharply. A couple sold in the mid 100s, and right now it is going for $81. And if we look at the history, somebody bought a foil version for $164. So I'm not sure. I think that the foil version of this card, now I could be wrong, but is it true that the foil version of this card only comes in collector booster packs? I'm not sure if you can get the foil version in play booster. But if that's the case, then of course the foil version could retain much more value. And as we can see, the foil version is going for the mid 160s. But the non-foil, there were a lot of sales in the mid 80s. But now it is sitting at 81. So this card does seem very popular. But because this version of this card can be found in the regular play boosters, it will likely go down a little bit more. The thing about this card also is there's so many different versions, right? So you can get this treatment, you can get the regular treatment, and you can also get this treatment. So there's and this treatment in search foil. So the search foil of this treatment, the regular of this treatment, then the regular foil of this one. Then you get the regular one, then the regular one in regular foil, and then you can get this art, the Nomura art, and then the Nomura art in foil. So my count is there's 6 different versions of this. It is a very popular card. It's a very good card. So the price will remain high, but because there's 6 different versions, even if some of the versions are only obtainable through the collector booster packs, it does, increase the supply a little bit and could damper the price on some of the versions. Certainly the more basic version, the more regular ones. Now, so this card here, again, earlier we were looking at the search foil version, which again is sitting at about $240. The non-search foil, which you can get in any regular play booster pack after the release, has gone down as well, and it is currently sitting at $43. If you look at the sales data, there were a bunch sold in the 50s, 40s. So it seems to be stabilizing right now in the 40s. But again, because this can be opened in any play booster pack, play boosters are going to be printed demand for a couple of years. I do expect the price of this card to go down. But caveat, any card price could go up if it's going to find its place in any tournament format, especially as a 4-of, if that's gonna happen. And of course, any card, not just Final Fantasy cards, in the future could also go up if they make a new card, which then enables one of these older cards to be playable or sought after again. Okay, final card that I want to look at is Vivi. Now, this is the regular version of Vivi, and there are many versions of Vivis, right? There's the borderless one. I don't know if they have like a special art Vivi. Probably not. So it might just be this. And the borderless. Let me see. Vivi. Oh, there's no comma. Vivi. Oh, yeah, okay. I guess there's a couple. Let's see. There's this one. Okay. So Vivi has one. No, this is pre-release. Doesn't count. So it has borderless, extended art, and then the regular. So we're going to look at the regular here, but let's take a look at the borderless and the regular. Okay, so the regular, again, it's in any play booster. Actually, every version of Vivi can be opened in regular play booster. This is a very, very popular card for both Commander, and I think it's going to have an impact probably in Standard and or Modern, but probably a lot of them have been open. And look, the price is sitting at $40 for the regular version, where pre-sale they were probably going for, this is all today, so a bunch sold today, $613. So let's go look at what they were selling for, just yesterday, $612. 50, upper 50s, 60s, right? So the price of this has dropped by a lot. Okay, and now let's look at the borderless version. This one looks pretty cool. I like the art on this one. And again, you can see a big price drop. It is currently sitting at $74. And look at the sellers, right? 1 sale, 6 sales, 4 sales. So these are new sellers on TCG Player or new accounts by sellers, but they are not game shops or anything like that. So they had to wait until the release date. The full version, wow, the full version is going for $200. But look, in the 70s, $80, just earlier today, yesterday, $80, $90. Yes, on June 12th, yesterday, VVs were being sold for $130, $120, over $100 in the mid 90s. So you wait until the release, and this sought after version is dropped down to the 70s. And again, many of these can and will be opened once in any play booster. All right, so last thing I want to talk about, so we're looking at all the singles. One more interesting thing I want to point out is the traveling chocobos. So these are the neon ink chocobos that are only available in the collector booster packs. They are available in both the Japanese collector booster packs and the English ones. And if you open the Japanese ones, they will come in English. So that's important to note because the Japanese collector booster boxes are much cheaper than the English ones. English ones currently sitting at about $725. Let's see what the Japanese collector booster box is going for. $475-ish. $475. So it's about $300 cheaper, and you can also get the traveling neon ink chocobo. You just cannot get the serialized chocobo, which I heard is going for like 200,000 or something like that. Okay, so these the price has come down a little bit, not much. It's sitting at about $1,100, but interesting thing, some trickery or some type of exploit or something's going on, because if you look at the sales data, what happened here? Why? Now this is pre-release, this is pre-sale because it was on June 12th, yesterday, but there were 10 copies of this sold for 20 cents and 25 cents. Now, is this real? Did someone really get $1,000 card for 25 cents? Are they going to honor this sale, or is a seller listing it for this price and then making another account or a friend or someone then buying it? But what does that do? Well, what it does is it changes the market price of the card. So as you can see, the cheapest listing right now is $1,100. But if you look at the market price and the chart, you'll see a huge crash. So if you look at this, the chart, it's going to see this huge crash, and it's going to say 11 were sold for $375, and the market price is $375. Well, obviously, this card is not worth $375. It is probably worth, I don't know, close to $1,000 or more. And I don't know what impact this exploit or manipulation of the TCG market price has exactly, but I'm suspecting it could have an impact on the algorithms that some people use, or bots or programs that they have that do automatic pricing for them. I know that if as a TCG player seller, even the website itself has a sale price report kind of a tool, and you can show by market price. So it could have some impact on that. Maybe someone could misclick or do something wrong using their program or algorithm, and then accidentally list this neon ink $1,000 chocobo card for the market price of $375 or something like that. But again, if any of that actually happens, I feel like the seller would just cancel that. But whatever the case is, if somebody did that for the yellow one, somebody did this, probably the same person for the blue one as well. So let's look. The blue one sitting at about $1,000. And if we look at the sales data, the exact same thing happened. 30 cents, 25 cents on the same day, same number of sales. Look at the 6. The other one also had a 6. And the market price of this is even lower at $136. And then the gold one, or the yellow, not the gold one, the yellow one, it's cheaper than the others. Not surprising, $800. But if you look at the sales data, there were 3 of them sold for 30 cents. And that makes the market price down to $324. I wonder if this, if somebody made out like a bandit if they were actually able to get those for the 25, 30 cents. That would be incredible. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about the price decreases. Are you going to pick up any sealed product now that the price has come down? Are you going to wait to see if the prices come down even further? Do you think they're going to rise? And then for the singles, are you buying singles? Did you wait to buy singles? Are you going to wait further to see if the singles come down even more? My suspicion is all of the singles will come down more. There will be certain ones, probably the Sephiroth, this Surge foil, might go up depending on how much people want it, how desirable it is, how playable it is. And again, this version is only in the collector boosters, so maybe this version could go up if you really want this in Surge foil. This could be the best time to buy it. I'm not sure. But for the most part, generally for every other single or most other singles, they're likely going to go down even further from here as more product gets open, especially the singles that can be open in any play booster, not the collector boosters. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and have fun playing Final Fantasy or collecting it.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is by far the easiest way to design a beautiful, personalized, and professional-looking website, even if you don't know anything about how to design a website yourself. Regardless of what you're looking to get out of your personal or professional website, Squarespace has you covered with their collection of cutting-edge design tools, which allow literally anyone to build an online presence that looks pretty much however they want. More about Squarespace at the end of the video. When Magic the Gathering unveiled that its upcoming Universes Beyond crossover set would be the beloved game series Final Fantasy, Magic the Gathering players were overwhelmed with excitement, and they weren't the only ones. Final Fantasy players were excited as well, as it's often the case that Universes Beyond brings in brand new players to Magic the Gathering. New players who are excited to see their beloved properties, in this case Final Fantasy, represented in Magic cards. And they too were not the only ones excited for this set. That's because, without a doubt, Hasbro, the corporation that makes Magic the Gathering, has got to be overwhelmingly excited for its Final Fantasy crossover series of products. Yes, series of products, because Universes Beyond Final Fantasy is going to be a complete standard legal expansion, a series of commander decks, starter kits, bundles, and every other conceivable Magic product. So how could Hasbro not be excited when they are going to be jacking up their prices considerably? Currently, pre-order prices for a Play Booster box of Final Fantasy are going for just over $164 per box of 30 packs. Yes, 30 booster packs, as the number of booster packs per box has been decreased from 36. More on that in a moment. A collector booster box is going for $622 for 12 packs. Again, 12 booster packs, and the per box price is $622. Commander decks are being released in both premium and non-premium pricing, and if you want the fancy premium commander decks, it'll run you a ridiculous $375 for all 4. That's nearly $100 a box, and oh, oops, my bad. That's the non-premium pricing. Nearly $100 a box for the regular commander decks. The premium ones are currently listed at, here's the screenshot, lowest price is $1,284. That's over $300 per commander deck. Now, these are pre-order prices, and thankfully, MSRP is back. So maybe we can use that to cut through these prices, which, if it even needs to be said, you absolutely, positively should not be paying. Like, seriously, this video is going to have 100, maybe even 200,000 views, and I pray that not one of you spent $1,284 on a set of 4 commander decks. Please don't do that. Okay, so what is the official MSRP, the intended price from the company that makes this game? While there's no stated MSRP for a complete booster box, Wizards of the Coast has stated that the intended price per pack is $6.99 US. I want to remind everyone that this is for a standard set. The MSRP on collector boosters is $37.99 per pack. And while Play booster boxes typically are sold at a discount, there is usually not a buy in bulk reduction in price for collector booster packs. So at 12 packs per box, that means a collector booster box's MSRP is essentially $455.88, which somehow, impossibly, is less than what they are pre-ordering for currently. Again, I hope no one is paying these pre-order prices. The gift bundle MSRP is $89.99. Not too long ago, that's just a little less than what you'd pay for a booster box of standard, and now it's what present-day fat packs run. And as far as commander decks are concerned, the MSRP is $69.99 for the regular, non-premium versions. Very not nice. And a whopping $149.99 for the premium commander deck versions, making these, I believe, the most expensive commander decks ever. And that's even when you include things like the premium Warhammer commander decks. But it's worse than that, because these prices are not just for the Final Fantasy set. This is not a singular issue, but a larger issue that is encompassing the cost of all Magic the Gathering, because these prices are for all Universes Beyond products going forward, and half of all Magic the Gathering products are now Universes Beyond products, so this is just the Magic the Gathering cost. These prices, this madness, is the new normal. This is the cost of Magic the Gathering as of now. To get an idea of just how expensive Magic the Gathering has become, I'd like to look at the cost of a few other luxury items. If you were to purchase a brand new OLED Nintendo Switch with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, it would cost you $329. That's still $126.88 less than the price of one Final Fantasy Collector Booster Box. So I guess you could still add, well, not a Universes Beyond Play Booster Box, haha, no, but you could add another Switch game like Super Mario Wonder, and then you would still have enough money left over to buy Monster Hunter Wilds, which is selling for $69 and change.
Victory demands everything. Each push, a step closer. But the journey is never solo. My team carves the way. Data and innovation are my compass. This is how today's champions are made. CFI, empower yourself.
अगर आप NRI हैं तो रिटायरमेंट के बाद आपको भी मिल सकते हैं 7 से 8 लाख रुपए, वो भी हर महीने। यकीन नहीं होता ना? आइए बताता हूँ कैसे। विद एक्सिस मैक्स लाइफ फ्लेक्सी वेल्थ एडवांटेज प्लान, एक्सिस मैक्स लाइफ स्मार्ट इनोवेशन फंड के साथ आप भी अपनी रिटायरमेंट प्लान कर सकते हैं। अगर आपने इसमें 2005 में 30,000 का मंथली प्रीमियम पे किया होता, यानी कि टोटल प्रीमियम ऑफ 36 लाख, तो आपको 2025 में लगभग 7.5 लाख का मंथली इनकम, वो भी अप टू 100 इयर्स ऑफ योर एज एंड अप्रॉक्स 11 करोड़ का फंड वैल्यू भी मिलता, along with life cover, dual tax benefit, guaranteed loyalty additions, unlimited free fund switches, and much more. Get ready to plan your smart retirement with Axis Max Life Insurance. Click on the link below to buy now.
How insane is that? One collector booster box of Final Fantasy or a Nintendo Switch OLED with Mario Kart 8, Mario Wonder, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Okay, Monster Hunter Wilds, I know it's on the PlayStation 5, and that's $499. Hey, look, a collector booster box is slightly less than a PlayStation 5. However, if you wanted to buy all 4 premium commander decks at MSRP, that'd run you $596, which is more than a PlayStation 5, even if you include Monster Hunter Wilds. And that's all operating under the premise that these products will actually be available at MSRP. because it is not unreasonable to assume that many of these products will be on shelves for above MSRP, meaning that Collector Booster Box may just run you a PlayStation 5 and a copy of the new Monster Hunter game after all, or even more. Adding insult to injury is the fact that you cannot opt out of these prices any longer because Universes Beyond is now 50% of all standard sets. Half of the sets this year are going to be Universes Beyond, and yes, Wizards of the Coast has confirmed that just like Final Fantasy, the Spider-Man set, which will be a complete booster box set that's standard legal, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, which will be a complete booster box set that's standard legal, that all of these standard legal Universes Beyond sets will carry the increased prices we are seeing here. When Lord of the Rings and Assassin's Creed came out, if you didn't want to pay the premium prices, you didn't have to because they were not standard legal. You could opt out, but all of these sets are now standard legal. So if you want to play standard, you have to pay the increase in price. And that increase in price is not just on a singular set. It is on all Universes Beyond sets, which are, again, half of all of Magic the Gathering now, and required for standard. And as a default, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Commander, even Pauper. There's no opting out. Magic the Gathering has just done a price increase across half its product line. What happened to the plan to revitalize Standard, to get people playing Standard again? How does making Standard more expensive help that goal? Not only that, but think of the price for any other format that uses booster packs. Draft, more expensive. Sealed, pre-release, more expensive. So yes, this is bad for existing players simply because prices are going up across half of all product lines, and this is bad for Standard because the cost of Standard is going up, but it's also bad for new players to the game because it's going to affect pre-release and sealed. One of the best new player experiences is attending a pre-release event at a local game store. It's something that we commit considerable resources on this channel to promoting because we know and understand that even though videos like our recent updated guide to pre-release and sealed don't perform as well as others, they are important for the game nonetheless. Getting players into game stores for pre-release means maybe keeping players going to game stores for draft and standard, which is a vital part of the larger Magic the Gathering player ecosystem. Even formats like Commander are tied to things like game stores having a vibrant player community, and these price increases are just going to be the kiss of death for all of these formats, and that is going to hurt game stores, which hurts all of Magic. I mean, with the economy already what it is now really the best time for a luxury hobby that is already incredibly expensive to be raising its prices so dramatically? If this was a once-a-year specialty set that wasn't a part of Standard, things might be different, but it's not. It's half of the game, and it's the foundations of the game, Standard and Limited, that are getting the price increase. You know I have a reputation for being someone who complains about everything, but the overwhelming majority of my complaints over the years, almost all of them, really have just been related to affordability and accessibility of this game. I want people to play Magic the Gathering. I want new players to experience and fall in love with the magic that is a pre-release event at their local game store. I want players to be able to afford to draft Magic, for a draft event to not be so expensive that you can only do it once on a lark. You should be able to grind out drafts at your local game store, not have to save up for one like you would a fancy dinner on the town. A box of Magic the Gathering should not cost the same as 3 to 4 Nintendo Switch games. A set of Commander decks should not be more expensive than a PlayStation 5. Complete, well-designed Commander decks were sold for just $19.99 a few years ago, and now we're about to hit damn near $100 each for ones that are a part of a standard set? How is any of this good for the long-term health and sustainability of Magic the Gathering? And I get it, I really do. Final Fantasy and Avatar The Last Airbender and SpongeBob SquarePants and Spider-Man and Street Fighter and Transformers and Warhammer 40K and Ghostbusters and Stranger Things and Monty Python and Assassin's Creed and Hatsune Miku and Fallout and Tomb Raider and Jurassic Park and Fortnite and The Walking Dead are all better, apparently, at getting people to buy Magic the Gathering than products like Lorwyn and Ravnica and Tarkir and Dominaria, but I don't know. Maybe there is no but. Maybe that's how it is. If you want to play Standard, if you want to play Magic the Gathering, you're going to have to start paying more. And we probably haven't even hit the ceiling yet. But I still firmly believe that this is bad for Standard, bad for players, both new and old, and overall, despite whatever record sales numbers we're about to have thrown in our faces as a rebuttal to any and all criticisms, despite that, I still feel it is fundamentally bad for the game and its future. The line cannot go up forever, but once the toothpaste is out of the tube, there's no putting it back how it was. But those are, of course, just my thoughts. And now I would like to hear from you. What do you think of Magic the Gathering's new price increases, and what effect do you believe it will have on the game? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, please take a moment to watch and support our new guide to building a sealed deck, or just watch the latest episode of Shuffle Up and Play with Dev from Strictly Better MTG, Metacasts, and Ailey. I know that these videos are not hot button topics like this one, but I feel both have value nonetheless, and so it would mean a lot if you gave them a watch, if you have not done so already. Ah, the life of a content creator. You know, if you're looking to get into content creation, a gorgeous website created by Squarespace, sponsor of this video, is a great way to set yourself apart. Anyone with a phone and access to the internet can make a YouTube video. Trust me, I know firsthand. But it's a whole other story when you have a slick website featuring your content, and one that's tailored to your brand. Well, Squarespace lets you showcase your content like the professional that you are, and they do it all for you. Once you launch, you can track your site's performance with Squarespace's intuitive built-in analytic tools. Review website traffic and learn where to focus engagement all in one place. And hey, if you want to turn your brand into a revenue stream by selling custom merch, Squarespace can help with that too. Whether you're growing a brand, running events, or offering experiences, merch is a great way to engage your audience and generate an extra bit of income. All you have to do is design your products, and Squarespace will handle the production, inventory, and shipping so you can focus on what you do best. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Tolarian Community College to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
What's up? It's Shuffle Up and Play with decks that Tomer has built for us. Tomer built the entire pod for how much money, Tomer?
$25 each, so total $100.
Do you notice how he built the decks for all of us? And
I did notice that.
Did not rig it.
It looks kind of sus, Tomer.
This isn't petty prof anymore. It's proper play prof. All the P.
So much PP.
So much PP.
He's showing weakness. Get him.
You've played your last shambling guest.
Because it's commander, yeah.
Yes, correct.
That's am I going to win next turn type face.
Oh, God, no. You didn't build it that good.
He just called you a zoomer. You gonna take that?
You know, because of that, I'm gonna swing at prof.
Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, is it worth it to buy a Final Fantasy Commander deck? No, it's not. They're too expensive. No matter how good a quality deck it is, no matter how much value it has, it's simply not worth it to spend this much money on cardboard. I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. All right. They're actually pretty good, and there's value in them, and they're really expensive, though. All right, let's start this over. Magic the Gathering's first Universes Beyond set to enter Standard is also Magic the Gathering's fifth Universes Beyond property to receive a full 4 Commander precons following Warhammer 40k, Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who, and Fallout. As always, each precon is a fully playable, right out of the box, 100-card commander deck. But unlike all past iterations, both Universes Beyond and Within, these Final Fantasy commander precons carry a higher than ever price. So just how well do these Final Fantasy precons stack up against their predecessors? How many new Magic cards appear in each deck? What kind of value can you expect from your purchase? And most importantly, are these decks fun to play with? Do they play well against one another? And what about against your friends' already established commander decks? All those questions and more are what's in store, so let's take a look. But first, it's an undisputed fact that knowing how to code will help your prospects in the job market. So why haven't you learned yet? Too hard? Too boring? But have you ever stopped to consider just how hard and boring learning things like Magic the Gathering can be? Or Final Fantasy? Or Pokemon? If you can memorize and understand all those rules systems, why do you still not know how to code? Well, that's because learning a game like Magic the Gathering inside and out is different than having to sit down and study. But not anymore, thanks to sponsor of this video, Boot.dev. Learn to code like you are learning a game with back-end web development from JavaScript to Python to Go. Boot.dev is an online, self-paced learning tool that feels like you're playing a captivating role-playing game. On Boot.dev, you'll level up, you'll earn achievements, you'll complete quests, all while writing a ton of code. And that's great because the only way to actually learn how to do something is by doing it. And that means getting your hands on the keys and shipping projects. But with Boot.dev, it's like you're playing a game, and that's such a more effective way to learn this stuff. But if you're ever struggling with a concept, the folks at Boot.dev have designed Boots, a powerful bear wizard. Actually, a bear wizard AI that's been trained in each lesson and can walk you through your issues. He doesn't just hand you the answers, though. He asks you guiding questions that will lead you to the right answer yourself. You know, like Socrates. You know, Boot.dev has been a sponsor for a long time now, and I absolutely love working with them. That's because I genuinely believe this is one of the best ways for a person to learn how to code, and you're learning such a valuable skill. If you want to give it a try yourself, click the link in this video description box and use my code Tolarian to get 25% off of your first month or your first year, depending on which subscription you choose. Thank you, Boot.dev, for sponsoring this video. A Final Fantasy Commander deck contains the following: one ready-to-play 100-card commander deck, which itself includes one traditional foil face commander, as well as one traditional foil backup commander. The rest of the cards, at least in the non-premium version, more on that in a moment, are non-foil, with 25 of them being brand new Magic designs, and the remainder reprints. While gone are the days of oversized cards, life total trackers, spin-down dies, and other inclusions, you still receive some double-sided tokens, and a cardboard deck box. And of course, a collector sample booster pack, which contains 2 random cards that can be found in the overpriced collector boosters. A box of which is actually selling for less than a brand new PlayStation 5, or even a marked up Nintendo Switch 2 on the secondary market. So if you're thinking of buying a collector booster box, realize that you can get a Switch 2 for cheaper by buying it off of a scalper. But that's another video. So what exactly do these Final Fantasy Commander decks cost? Just as with the Warhammer 40k decks from a few years ago, the Final Fantasy Commander decks come in 2 versions, a regular version and a collector's edition. The collector's edition is identical to the regular version, except that 100% of the cards are foil, and not just foil, but a special surge foil. Unlike the Warhammer decks, however, these Final Fantasy precons have an MSRP, both for the regular and collector version. The MSRP for the the regular Final Fantasy Precon is $69.99, a hefty $25 more than the MSRP was for the previous set's Tarkir Dragonstorm Precons. Please note this $25 increase is for the non-premium version, but if you think that's expensive, wait until you hear the MSRP for the Collector Edition Precons, $149.99 each, a full $105 more than the MSRP for a Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander deck. The silver lining here, of course, is that because of MSRP, you can expect a relatively stable and reasonable marketplace for these Final Fantasy Precons. For example, if we look at Final Fantasy VI on the secondary market, we can see that this Commander deck is selling for $54.95, and that's actually below MSRP. What a good sign. Let's check the prices on the others, and oh no! $98.96 for Final Fantasy XIV, $100.94 for Final Fantasy X, $120.13 for Final Fantasy VII. These are the non-premium prices? Should I even look at what the Collector's Edition Precons are going for? I mean, the MSRP is $149.99 on those, so it can't be that bad, can it? Spoilers, it can. The premium version of Final Fantasy VI is going for $252.92. The premium Final Fantasy VII is selling for $358.56. Final Fantasy X's premium version will cost you $337.01, and Final Fantasy XIV $367.94. Cool. You know, to go from complaining about markups on Tarkir Commander decks or other standard Commander decks to this is really weird, because that's like, hey, hang in there. You don't need to pay $60 for that. It's going to be $30 in a few weeks when the next set comes out, but these prices, this is something else entirely different. And yet it's the same because these are standard Commander decks. It's not like the Modern Horizons Commander decks. This is standard. It's Final Fantasy, but it's standard. It's not premium anymore. I mean, there are the premium decks with their outrageous prices, but it feels like there isn't premium and non-premium here. There's premium, and then there's ultra premium. When you look at these prices, what other conclusion can I draw? And what else can I say except don't pay markups? It's not worth it. You can't reward price gouging on the secondary market, etc., etc., etc. And yet, I don't know, it may not even be possible to buy these precons without markups. Maybe you should go to your big box stores. I don't want to say that, but what are you supposed to do? I don't have an answer for you here. These products are really, really expensive. More expensive than they should be. As I move into the financial overview section, don't let the numbers flashing on your screen make you forget how much money you're likely going to have to pay to get your hands on the decks that contain those numbers. And remember, the numbers I'm showing for the singles are reflective of pre-sale prices. We try and pull them as close to release as we can, but we need to get this video up the day these hit shelves, so we got to use pre-sale prices. They go down when the decks go live. So keep all that in mind, but with all that being said, what kind of value is included inside each of these precons? As of the filming of this video, if you were to buy all the singles from each precon at their lowest price, for Revival Trance, you would have to spend $94.22. For Limit Break, $143.12. For Counter Blitz, $138.29. And for Scions and Spellcraft, $118.42. So, relative to their MSRPs, all four of these decks contain a decent bit of value. But remember, they're not selling for MSRP, and if you're paying markups, you're not really getting any value. What happens if we eliminate all the bulk? What happens if we only look at the cheapest versions of every card worth $1 or more? Well, Final Fantasy VI Revival Trance contains 31 out of 100 singles that are worth $1 or more for a total of $70.49 in non-bulk. Only Celeste, Rune Knight, and an admittedly nice reprint of Reanimate are currently selling for more than $5 each. Do you really want to spend $100 for a commander deck whose highest card of value is a reprint of Reanimate, selling for $7 and change? I don't know, maybe you do. In terms of gameplay, Revival Trance is a Mardu graveyard value deck helmed by Terra, Herald of Hope. Terra is an incredibly similar card to the longtime Mardu favorite, Alessia, who smiles at death, right down to color identity, mana cost, and game plan. Just as would be the case with any deck helmed by Alessia, Revival Trance's goal is to fill your graveyard with low-power creatures to gradually bring back with Terra's ability. To that end, Terra's first ability goes a long way toward making this a viable strategy. Unlike Alessia, who does not help you set up your graveyard shenanigans, Terra's self-mill means she is both an engine and a payoff all in one. Revival Trance has a rather high curve, which is a real weakness to the deck. There are just not enough self-mill or discard outlets at the low end of the curve to reliably get this deck going on time. Also, many of the top-end cards do not fit with the deck's primary game plan, as they are not creatures with power 3 or less. So while Terra is a very powerful commander, the rest of the deck is not very successful at making her shine. I actually think that the deck's backup commander, Celeste Rune Knight, can serve as a better headliner for the deck, as it helps smooth out your clunkier draws and synergizes more directly with a lot of the higher mana value cards. But all in all, this is one of the weaker decks of the four from a gameplay perspective. Final Fantasy VII Limit Break has 39 cards worth more than $1, including an excellent reprint of Clever Concealment at nearly $11, and the deck's backup commander Tifa, Martial Artist, going for $10 in her own right. The total cost of the non-bulk of Limit Break is a stellar $122.23. But remember, the deck is currently costing you $120 on online marketplaces, so unless you're snagging it for MSRP, you're pretty much getting what the deck contains when you buy it. In terms of gameplay, Limit Break is a Naya equipment deck built around Cloud, ex-Soldier. Cloud is a 4/4 human soldier mercenary with haste for 2 generic and 1 of each Naya mana. When he enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Whenever he attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. And then if Cloud has at least 7 power, make 2 treasures. With 16 equipment in the deck, you're very likely to have 1 in play the turn Cloud comes down to immediately equip to him. But only 4 of those equipment single-handedly buff Cloud to 7 power, so you'll need additional help if you want to get the 2 treasure tokens right away. On the whole, this is a very well-constructed deck. I love the inclusions of Dispatch, a removal spell that synergizes well with all your equipment, and Vandal Blast, a powerful card that doesn't get put in commander precons enough these days. The curve on the deck is also really balanced, with plenty of cheap cards to complement the 5 mana value commander. In fact, the only card with more than 6 mana value is Vanquish the Horde, which isn't actually an 8-drop due to its cost reduction. The deck's backup commander, Tifa Martial Artist, is also a fun commander in her own right, though in this deck she's better as a role player in the 99 than in the command zone, since she only synergizes with all the equipment indirectly. Overall, I think this deck has it all. A strong game plan with a powerful commander, excellent curve, good ramp spells, and some solid removal, including a few strong sweepers. Not to mention plenty of card advantage and a lot of sweet legends to attach your equipment to. Final Fantasy X Counter Blitz has 39 out of 100 cards that are worth $1 or more for a total non-bulk value of $119.99. The most expensive card in the deck is currently Sphere Grid, a new design that's selling for $15, though again, these are pre-sale prices. The precon also includes an excellent reprint of Walking Ballista, currently about an $8 card. Inclusions of cards like Farewell and 3 Visits are welcome reprints as well. In terms of gameplay, Counter Blitz is, as you might expect, a deck involving moving counters of various kinds around on your creatures. Titus, Yuna's Guardian, the deck's headlining commander, allows you to move counters around at the beginning of combat and also proliferates whenever a creature you control that has a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, though you can only do this once each turn. The deck is a pretty classic Bant counters deck in the spirit of Falco Spara, Peacekeeper. Notably, the lore counters on your Saga creatures also count towards a creature dealing combat damage to a player with Titus. Also, if you move a lore counter from a saga creature onto a non-saga creature, you get all the benefits of manipulating lore counters on your saga creatures, such as getting an additional saga ability trigger and keeping your saga creature around longer, and all without any drawbacks since the lore counters don't do anything at all on a non-saga creature. The deck's backup commander, Yuna, Grand Summoner, is an expensive mana dork that spreads around +1/+1 counters from creatures that die onto other bodies. Overall, this is a powerful commander deck that includes key reprints, as well as cards like Damning Verdict, which is an absurd sweeper in this deck, as it will often play out like a 5-mana Plague Wind rather than a Wrath of God. Path to Exile and An Offer You Can't Refuse are premium 1-mana interactive spells, and there is plenty of ramp and other useful low mana cost cards in this deck list. This is also a deck with a low curve and plenty of mana ramp to cast the more expensive cards that are included. I really like this deck a lot. Final Fantasy XIV, Scions and Spellcraft, has 34 out of 100 cards worth at least $1, with the total non-bulk value hitting $95.43. The most expensive card currently is the new design Tataru Taru, which is going for $11. This is followed by Y'shtola, Knights Blessed at $8.66, and welcome reprints of both Snuff Out and Sunken Runes, going for $6 and change. Again, I urge you when seeing these high values to consider just what you're paying for the deck if you're paying above MSRP, which you should not be doing. In terms of gameplay, Scions and Spellcraft is an Esper control deck headlined by Y'shtola, who at the beginning of each end step, if a player lost 4 or more life, allows you to draw a card. Also, whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, Y'shtola will deal 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. It's very rare for a precon to be a full-on control deck, but with Scions and Spellcraft it is exactly that. The main way this deck wins is by slowly draining your opponents of their life with Y'shtola's ability and the ping ability of the 0/1 wizard tokens from this set while you cast non-creature spells that interact with the board or refill your hand with fresh cards. Because Y'shtola wants you to cast non-creature spells that cost 3 mana or more, most of the non-creature spells in this deck cost 3 mana or more. I know, huge shock, but that doesn't mean there aren't cheap cards in the deck, as there are 7 2-mana creatures, 2 of which come strapped with the 3-mana adventure spell. Control decks have their issues in Commander, but this deck does a great job giving the control deck a more proactive game plan than you might typically see in 1v1 formats. You are interacting with the board, yes, but you're also putting tokens and other creatures into play and working to end the game via damage rather than attrition. The backup commander is Graha Tia Scion Reborn, a 3-mana lifelinking 2/3 that creates big hero tokens when you cast non-creature spells. Honestly, I tested several games with this as the main commander rather than Y'shtola, and it worked out as a solid choice. The main downside to this deck is that there aren't many counter spells, which is a key component to successfully controlling the game in Commander. There are a couple, yes, the adventure mode on Hypnotic Sprite and Sublime Epiphany, but it would have been nice to see 1 or 2 more, such as one of the cancels with upside like Refute or Disallow, or a more expensive one that can be cast for reduced cost like Ice Out. All in all, this is an average deck right out of the box, and I feel it is really asking for a lot of upgrades to make it something special. Let's strip away finances entirely for a moment and just talk in terms of deck construction, what you get out of the box. Which of these 4 decks do I feel is the best? Speaking strictly in terms of gameplay, my number 1 pick is Final Fantasy VII Limited Break. I actually would pick this up for both new and experienced players. It really is the precon that does it all. Fantastic design from top to bottom. Second pick is Final Fantasy X Counter Blitz. The deck makes for solid gameplay and can hold its own without any upgrades, but it also invites a powerful build for those looking to swap in some cards of their own. Final Fantasy XIV Scions and Spellcraft does need some upgrades out of the box, but once you've put in some better counter spells and such, this becomes a really awesome control precon. I don't want to diminish this deck too much by saying I'd start swapping in cards right away, because it's still a fantastic design, but yeah, it is so much less playable right out of the box than 7 and 10. My last pick, and contender for a different grade category, is Final Fantasy VI Revival Trace. There's just not enough self-mill or discard outlets as we discussed earlier. The deck ends up being sluggish, it doesn't get going on time,